Hello, everybody, and everybody watching right now, and everybody who's watching this at a later point. We are Single Malt Synthesis. I'm Heinbach.
I'm Konstantine.
Yeah, and we'll be drinking whiskey and talking about all kinds of synth-related stuff. Konstantine, what are you drinking today?
Good question. So today I was thinking of going for something more mellow because I haven't slept much.
Okay,
So I think this one.
a Bowmore. Mhm.
Yep, 12 years. Smells super nice.
Do you want me to read up on the history of Bowmore
Yeah,
from
please do.
this
Please do.
excellent tome that we've been exploring in the past, the Michael Jackson Malt Whiskey Companion?
I wish it was the known Michael Jackson. That would have been fun.
Mhm. If that was so.
Like pop star extraordinaire and whiskey connoisseur. Ooh, I rhymed.
Nah, you got the soul of a poet. That must have been the righteous tears that you drank last time.
Good point. Good point.
Ah, so Bowmore. It's from the Morrison Bowmore distillery, and it's an Islay. And now it's whiskey story time. The village of Bowmore is the capital of Islay, and its famous distillery a justifiable popular center for visitors. The distillery, founded in 1797, is kept in beautiful condition, but not to be confused with a local school, which is decorative pagodas. Confusing a distillery with a school would
Okay.
that would be fun. That would be fun.
Yeah.
In both geography and palate, how do you say that? Palate?
Palette, I think. Yeah, I think it's like French. Palette.
Yeah. Once is used for shipping, once is used to ship yourself off. The whiskies of Bowmore are between the intense malts of the South Shore and the gentlest extremes of the North. Their character is not a compromise but an enigma, and tasters have found it difficult to unfold its complexity. The water used rises from iron-tinged rock, and picks up some peat from the earth as it flows by the way of the river Lagan, through moss, ferns, and rushes to the distillery. While the peat higher on the island is rooty, that at Bowmore is sandier. The company has its own maltings where the peat is crumbled before it's fired to give it more smoke than heat. The malt is peated for a shorter time than that used for the more intense Islay whiskies. So, does that resonate with your experience, your drinking experience right now?
I haven't started yet. I'm waiting for you
because
to
we need to cheers.
Yeah, but there was I like the comment from Ned on Analog, and he said Balmore equals Dopefer. That's a good question. I like that comparison. Although you were reading,
it's very varied. What you mean? So you get everything, but it's also like it appears to be plain, even though it absolutely isn't. It absolutely is not. I love Dopefer systems. I think they're super cool. And
we should talk about that.
Yeah. If I were to buy a new Eurorack system, I would definitely go for Dopefer as a nice starting setup with all the quads, like the 140 series with the 144 3 and stuff like that.
I have them right here.
Yeah, 143 right. I mean, it's a fun thing to also already know Dopefer modules just by the
code.
Yeah, that should be a fun game, super boot-like game.
That would be that would be nice, right? Yeah. Like you get a card, and then on the one side it says the code, and then you have to guess what the actual name of the module.
What the actual module is. I would. I mean, like A199. That's easy.
Sorry, what was the number?
A199. Chat, you're welcome to guess Withers.
Yeah, come on, that's a reverb.
Okay.
Super easy. But
okay.
But I really love Dopefer stuff. I'm a big fan.
Simon is also here. I just see him. Hi, Simon. Yeah. Glad you could drop by. Hope you're doing fine. Nice. Yeah.
I have some.
Simon, if you just some question, just a second. Simon, if you want to, you can also drop in and talk Withers if you've got time. Just let me know and I'll drop you a link. And where are you? So
I'm done with the beer, so I think it's time for some whiskey.
Perfect.
That's a generous portion.
It's gonna be a long night.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while.
So I can cheers with you, I picked the fine one. Rather, the people on the premiere for yesterday's video, they picked that one. Actually had planned to drink a Talisker, but now I'm drinking a Lagavulin 8. And I checked the 8 is not in the book, and I haven't tried it yet. This is an unopened bottle, so I'm really excited for this. But first, some lore. Lagavulin, the classic Islay malt with the driest and most sustained attack of any readily available whiskey. So here again, another synthesizer parallel. The most sustained attack. We're gonna get back to the most sustained attack. I wonder what envelope or synthesizer could have the most sustained attack. Has in recent years emerged from relative obscurity to international stardom. Purists regret the demise in the late 1980s of its especially vigorous 12-year-old version, but the more mature 16-year-old still has a tremendous punch. The producer have on occasion denied using sherry for this version. That's okay, man. The well-kept distillery has armchairs for visitors. We give our guests plenty of time. They like a meaningful exchange rather than an audiovisual. Well, I hope we'll be meaningful and audiovisual for you lot.
We should just grab all the information from there and just put it on records and
Look, there's Ben. He's in the chat, and Ben DivKid will be joining us later, and we got a special announcement regarding what will be happening with the stream, because we plan on going big, and but that comes later when Ben comes in.
Yeah, we have to have it. We have to have a bit of whiskey first.
Yeah. So I'm going to do some uncorking ASMR.
That pop was absolutely lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Glug, 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 glug. And cheers, Konstantine and everybody. Dinging the webcam is like a surefire way to crash everything.
That would be nice. As long as all the cables are taped. I don't want.
That was one of the live tips, right? That I gave you when you started doing powwows, to tape down everything.
Yeah. That was a really good tip. Tape all the cables down.
Yeah. Everybody who thinks they should sample that, please, this episode will stay up later, and you can sample everything and make video remixes of us. Do whatever. I support that. And please post in the subreddit, because I think that's a nice place to get all these things together. That tastes absolutely great. That tastes fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm good choice, chat. Thank you.
Oh, the chat made the choice for you. That's sweet.
Yeah. Nice time. Noise Jockey also here. Awesome. Nice to see you here.
It's super nice to have good company drinking whiskey. And skål to the people from Sweden who wrote skål.
Yeah. So where's last time you put up a little synthesizer with an integrated tape deck and sequencer, and we're supposed to make an intro melody.
Yep. Yeah, that's a sad story. Let's start from there. We've already started with the whiskey drinking, so I can get into that story. So the idea was to, let me just bring it right here. That's a sad story. So the PMC 100 made from Philips. So the idea was
please show it on detail a bit farther.
I think this is
it's a keyboard, like a foil keyboard, like on the Wasp, with a cassette recorder, and it looks like a MIDI sequencer.
Yeah, it doesn't have any MIDI though.
Okay.
Yeah, but it has a really nice sequencer. Let me see if I can. It has a very nice sequencer where you can add chords and do inversions and stuff like that. Super nice. Define the root. It's super nice, and then you can record the sequences on the tape and then play them back. So super nice stuff, but it does not work anymore. So I couldn't record anything. So what I did was I played. This is like your typical.
F's in the chat.
Sorry, what?
F's in the chat. Yeah. That's a Call of Duty thing.
Oh, sorry, I missed that one. Not a big FPS gamer anymore. So anyway, this is your standard 9-volt thing. So I plugged the 9-volt and it didn't work. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to go with batteries because it takes like batteries on the back.
Mm-hmm.
So I put on the batteries and I noticed after a bit that the keyboard, it didn't turn on and the keyboard was getting super warm.
Whoa. There you're back again.
Yeah, I guess it was the battery. I also lost you.
That was like a short like.
Yeah, that was probably the
ghost of the synthesizer.
I shouldn't bring that. Yeah, I think something. Okay, this is a ghost story. This is a good ghost story. So here's the thing. So the keyboard was getting warm, so I'm like panicking, and I removed the back thingy, and I removed the batteries, right? And the batteries are burning up.
Okay.
Super hot.
Okay.
And I removed them. Well, I didn't get that from there, but the finger from there. But I removed the batteries, and I put them on the side. 20 minutes later, they were still burning.
They were burning?
20 minutes later, still super hot.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen that.
So they short-circuited inside the unit.
No idea. Never seen that before. Never in my life have I seen batteries burning up and like for 20 minutes. I don't know if they still have juice or something. I haven't checked.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So what we need is we need like a new synthesizer for making something new we need a new synthesizer for you to make an audio logo for this, basically.
Yeah, but it has to be something like, I don't want to use like a Blofeld. I want to use something quirky like the PMC. I need to find something. I'm considering the POs from Teenage Engineering, but those are quirky, but they don't have like the vintage obscure thing going on. I need something weird and bad.
I wonder maybe like I could ship you like my circuit band Bontempi maybe, because that's like, it's a pain, but it's also lovely.
I have a Bontempi. I have two Bontempis in Greece. Maybe I can get them shipped. That would be nice. I don't know.
Yeah, but I could ship you that one. It's crazy idea giver. I mean, I made a whole video about that thing, and it's just insane what it can do. But basically, the nice thing is.
Wait, is it the one with the air? The one what? The one with the the hair dryer inside?
No. That's the simple one. That's like a fan thing. No, I got this one. I think it's called the 606, and it goes like you turn it on, it goes ciao. And it says system 5 when you turn it on and ciao when you turn it off. And I had crazy matrix installed there, but every time like you would hit like a patch point that didn't work, it would go through all the ROM waves. So you had like a minute of so in between.
That sounds like a good intro.
It's an amazing synthesizer. I can ship that to you. So, or if you want to like mess with the samples, I've got a sample pack from that.
But not a big sample. You know what?
Sample pack is on the Patreon, of course. Patrons get all the nice things.
Of course they do. But maybe I could. I don't know. Maybe I could use that on the PO. Which one is it? The one with samples. I don't remember the PO. Yeah, I have the. Where is it? Is it this one? No, it's not this one. I have all the PO boxes here. Like not all of them, but this one.
But you can't see what it is because you put the case on it. So it's in stealth mode.
Yes, it's a secret.
So yes, right. It's the KO33.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks. So it's the one that does sampling. Maybe I can use that. put your samples from the Bontempi in.
Perfect. I'm gonna send them over to you. And yeah, I've got two POs. I've got the melody one from the very first series, and then I got the which one? The vocoder one. But I don't like touching the POs. That's just the thing. Even with the case, I don't like touching them.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
And I know exactly the reason why. Because my father, he had one of those big old brown calculators that these things were modeled on. And I really loved playing with it. It was one of my fun toys. And I would like type in things and numbers, and my father would have to tell them to me and it would throw me away. And this felt so, it looked like something from Blade Runner, basically. And then I saw the Poctorators and was like, oh, this is kind of that vibe, especially with the case. I put the case on, and it's not the same vibe. I like what they do sonically. They're very fun, but I just don't like touching them. I'm such a haptic person. I feel like if you watch my videos, especially the latest ones, like where more open talking about the whole process of making an album, I tend to do this because I feel the music in my fingertips. So yeah.
I remember that you reminded me of a good, of a very quick but nice story. I remember I was infatuated with what's the name of that keyboard? I always forget the name. That super haptic.
Arcan Continuum.
Yeah, exactly. So I was infatuated. Do you remember what you told me?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Because I was super. Yeah. So this is a good.
I told you it feels like gently stroking a diver.
No. It was touching a warm diver.
Touching a warm diver. Okay. Yes.
It does feel like touching a warm diver.
I mean, it's really amazing to play. I mean, the sound engine in there again is crazy, but when it touches, like, this reminds me of like a diver. It has like this very weird, what's it called, texture to it. So what can I say? I like wood. I like playing on wood. So I like wooden instruments. See at Lombard. I like metal. I even like hard plastic. It's like, I don't know. There's stuff that I enjoy.
Isn't it weird though that you can, like, sometimes, I'm not an expert by any means, but sometimes you can tell whether something is like cheap plastic or not. It's weird. Like sometimes you touch something and it's plastic and you're like, oh, this is good quality plastic. Like, why would you know whether it's good quality? But the feel kind of is different. Whereas you touch something else, like this is cheap. I bought I bought this one for to use as a keyboard controller.
That looks so much fun. This looks so much fun.
Yeah, but it's just a basic keyboard. Bluetooth keyboard to use on the TV and stuff like that.
But with a gamepad.
Yeah, it's.
But what do you use it for?
Yeah, I got it so I can use it with the teletype in order to program, because the teletype is in case people don't know, it's like a Eurorack module where you write a bit of code. I'm still learning. I just started, and you can only write more or less like up to 6 lines, and then you have to have another script. So I was thinking, I don't need a big keyboard. I can do it with this, and if I want to use it live, I can just take this along. And this is the one that we were using in the living room.
Oh, okay. Just 1 second. Productions. Thank you for the $4.99 tip.
So anyway, so I got this. So this one is the one that we had in the living room for the TV, and I got a new one, so I don't have to just plug and plug stuff. I got a new one, which has like a backlit thing, and this one feels exact same thing, right? The other one is just backlit. Nope, different company. Although the design is the exact same thing, this one feels far more expensive. The other one feels super cheap and plasticky.
I've got a thing like for controllers. I just bought this one. I don't know if you know this one.
Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram.
Yeah, I got like, this is a Competition Pro, basically, joystick. I think Quickshot made these. And this is a modernized copy with USB and stuff. And not even my copy. I think this is even like, the company is from Germany. So, but they probably, of course, they produce in China. But this feels so good and feels like indestructible. And I kind of got this to play retro games. And maybe, like, if this quarantine goes out long enough and I feel like I need a break from music, I already made a Twitch channel called Heinbach Plays, and I will be I want to play all the games basically that Chris Hülsbeck scored. Because I love his music. And I realized, like, some of my most favorite games, Monkey Island, Turrican, R-Type, all this stuff, like, is something that he scored or worked on, and Apudia, all these shooters. But if I do, that's why I didn't do this on, like, my regular, I won't do this on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Because of the difficulty level of these games, I will be cursing. I will be cursing all the time.
You know what? Can we do live stream of and I know you haven't invited me, but I would love it if we did together play Monkey Island, because I really love those games. And when I was super young,
so chilled out. So
yeah. And
but
I used to play with friends. Like, we just came over to one house and everyone just was, brainstorming ideas on what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you had to, like, figure out all these riddles that would not translate. Because I don't know, like, we've got an international audience. We've got an international audience, and everything is dubbed in Germany, like movies, series, and all the games. And there's some things, like some riddles, that are absolutely not translatable. There was this thing about the red herring. And in the original games, red herring means, like, a false clue. And that was very clear in, like, when you play it, like, in English. But if you've got no idea what it is in German, you really want to, was ist der rote Hering? You can't solve that riddle, really. So basically, I could only, and with friends, I could only solve that riddle using like guides. So
yeah, where did you find the guides back then?
We bought magazines. We bought Amiga Joker and stuff like that. Yeah,
that was sweet. We did the same. Like, you would get the magazine because it says, like, Monkey Island 2 solution or something.
Omri Cohn, I played Monkey Island 3 on the Amiga, and it had 8 discs. And I think it was so bad that I think they had the sound of opening a door on one disc. And so every time you opened the door, you had to insert that disc.
Wasn't that like Monkey Island 2? The one with the disc? Because I think 3 was around the time CDs were around, right?
No,
it wasn't the one.
It was still available on discs, 8 discs, and Indiana Jones 4 was 11 discs, as far as I remember. He turned really into a disc jockey. Productions. Monkey Island 4 is coming out this year. Really? If that's true, that's, like, the best news I've heard all day.
I wonder if it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it's, like, 4, so it means, like, it skips all the Tales of Monkey Island and all that stuff. So it continues from LeChuck's Revenge. That's number 3, right? Yeah, LeChuck's Revenge, where you got the ominous ending. Yeah.
Wasn't there already a 4, which was like a 3D? I never played that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There were 3D ones. There were many, but they were, like, I think, like, they stopped being cool at number 3.
Yeah, I didn't play 4 because I didn't like the jokes. Like, I checked a bit because my friend, the same guy that I used to play all the Monkey Island with, got it, but I didn't like the humor, and I was like, no, I'm just not gonna.
So now that we're deep in this, I'm sorry, everybody who hasn't played these games, but I need to ask, like, and I want to ask the chat also, what's the best LucasArts adventure? You've got 30 seconds now. Dim 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 dim. And the time is up. And I think Leisure Suit Larry. Well, that's nice. No. Manic Mansion was in fact LucasArts, I would say. But yeah.
And
I have to say my favorite one is my personal favorite one is Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis.
Yeah, that's super nice.
Yeah.
That's super good. Although, have you played the Dig?
I haven't. That's one of the games I haven't played. And now we've got a guest, Rosa.
Hello.
Okay, I'll have to give her a banana. You'll just have to take over for a second.
Yeah, don't worry.
Konstantinos.
Hello, Rosa. It's a family affair.
Ja, wir reden.
Pajama Sam? I haven't played that one. That looks super cool. Although I love like Grim Fandango. I remember playing all those video games. It was a great time. We used to just hang out with friends and spend all night playing adventure games, trying to figure out what the stupid solution was to the most extreme riddles. Leisure Suit Larry helped shape my childhood. Brian, that must have been tough. Welcome back.
What did I miss?
Nothing. I was just chatting on my own about adventure games, reminiscent. I'm that generation, the one that just grew
Space
up
Quest.
on
Space Quest. Leisure Suit Larry. These were brutal. These were lovely, awesome games. I really like. I mean, like the newer Telltale stuff. Like I really love The Walking Dead and The Wolves Among Us because that had some of that like spirit. I feel like in storytelling. I mean, they were much like not so funny and darker and more grim, but they had some of that spirit of adventure. And so it was a shame when the studio went down. So no.
The only one that I've actually bought recently was, let me just find it on my phone, if my phone complies.
Zork. Yes.
Zork. Have you played Thimbleweed Park?
What?
Thimbleweed Park.
No.
It's from the same guy that did the
Zack McCracken. Okay, cool. Here. What's his name? I know, but okay, I'll have to try that out if it's good.
Yeah, it's super good. Super good. It's a bit of X-Files thing, 2 FBI agents and stuff like that.
Hi, A Battery. Nice. Is it like episodic thingy?
No, one straight huge adventure.
Okay. What was that, like the black and white, super lovely episodic game, also adventure? There was like a David Lynch movie. I think it was also on iOS, like a pixel art, retro gamey, really lovely.
Like a David Lynch movie. That's a good.
I remember that. I'm intrigued. Like The Road. I don't know. Ron Gilbert. Yeah, that was the guy who did.
Ron Gilbert. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But there are a few good adventures. Thankfully, people are as obsessed as I am. You still get a few good ones.
Yeah.
Kentucky Route Zero was absolutely
Route Zero. That was the one I'm talking about.
It's not black and white though.
Yeah, but in my memory it is very black and white. But I stopped. Like I think I got lost in the mine. That's where I stopped playing it.
Yeah. Okay. But and they make amazing music for it. Really good analog synthesizers and stuff like that. So I think the score for the third episode was written on. Was it Surge system? I think it was on a Surge system.
Really? Okay. Yeah. At Julian Cheel, the stock answer when you didn't have any insult stored to that was "Ach ja," which is like a non-answer. There was about the insult battle, how you fight pirates in Monkey Island. There was this legendary insult battle. That was, I mean,
the one with the swords.
Yeah, because the one with the swords. Talk about a play of words.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
What was it? I am rubber, you're glue. Stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that was good. So, but just to like bring it kind of back. So basically Chris Hulsbeck, he scored that, and he was I think he still is out there doing music. He's producing music, and he releases albums. And he did a few orchestral versions of his Turrican stuff. But yeah, he's also did, I think, some versions of Turrican that really sound like Turrican. And even on Spotify, I think you can hear now like really Amiga sounding Turrican versions. And that's music that like gets me pumped up to get out of bed.
Those guys spent a lot of time composing those things. It was brilliant what they did.
Yeah, especially like with all the voice allocation. I mean, that's like when you even go further back to the C64, how you had to assign like your voices, so you have to have drums, rhythm, and everything. I think Sam Lookum on the Computer, he talks about that also in some of his C64 videos, and how he makes music with C64, how insanely like wild it is to make music with that.
Yeah.
Oh. Who's the guy, like another favorite composer of mine from that area it's Rob Hubbard. Rob Hubbard. He did some great soundtracks. Yeah.
I'm really bad with names, but I never remember any composers for video games. I think that my favorite ones, if I would, I'd have to say, if I needed to pick one soundtrack from any video game anytime, that would be The Neverhood.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down. Have you ever listened to it?
No, never know.
The Neverhood is a brilliant game that came out from DreamWorks.
Okay.
So it's claymation. So it's all made of clay.
Okay.
And it's not 3D, but it's 2D. It looks like like you would like any pixel one, but it's actually claymation, and it's absolutely brilliant. And it was actually by DreamWorks. That's pretty amazing that DreamWorks actually gave money for that thing. And the music is just to die for. All of it, every single song. It's just one of the. I'll give you an example. Through the whole soundtrack, they have like small recordings, like not Foley. What's the term I'm looking for when you go out, like
field recording?
Field recordings, right? And it has "Man in Space," and you hear nothing. Piano falling on stairs in space.
And I think there's a swarm of dead insects. He says, "My nickname is from the Neverhood soundtrack."
Exactly, right.
Ah, yes. Lovely. Sensible Soccer. Yeah, all the Sensible games. Like Cannon Fodder. Cannon Fodder, another great soundtrack, like with the title song. Whoa, never been so much fun. And you may and you shoot for lying in the sun. Whoa, it was really good. And
now, I think this is a really good intro for your Twitch channel. Now everyone needs to follow you on Twitch.
Where the content will be waiting for a long time. But actually, the game that I really want to play, I would love to play simply. I mean, what we are doing is also a bit like cheating, because it's like taking something that I love doing, like chatting with you, which we've been doing for a long time, and giving it like an official frame. So I have to do it now every 2 weeks and turn it into
it's good.
Yeah, it's like a good thing to have. So, but that's the same with the Twitch channel. I want to play FTL, Faster Than Light, but that game, don't start it. It took so much of my time. I started it and then I didn't get anything else done. It takes like 4 hours and just another run. And I had to stop it. And it's like,
what is it? Is it like a driving thing? What is it?
It's a space, not even kind of exploration, but basically you're fleeing from the rebels, and you go through sectors, and then you get like all these random number generator things happening to you, and you can't save during the run. Basically, it's basically you do the run, and the run takes about an hour or so, but it's permadeath basically. So, but you can. It's not like if your files are deleted. And the crazy thing about this, what they managed, is like every ship that you get after finishing some special missions feels so different. So every run through is completely new with the new ship, and you have to learn it. So sometimes it feels like work, but very exciting work. But I have to so if I could like make it a Twitch thing, so I can say, now I've got it like this is it's like would be like not as like feeling I'm wasting so much time on this. So
yeah, it's a good excuse for you. It's like, yeah, I'm on Twitch. I have people watching. I can't stop this.
I have to play 4 hours of FTL. Yeah, roguelike, exactly. The HTR, that's the name. So really, really, really good. Yeah. And yeah, I think I said Ben should be coming in a bit, but I think we can start talking about like how we're taking this whole a whole show further, right?
Okay, if we want to go ahead, yeah.
Or shall we wait until Ben is here?
I think we should just wait for Ben.
Okay, cool.
To be honest.
So that was another teaser.
Yes, there's going to be more. But the what I wanted to say is, yeah, we usually talk like this, and we can, of course, when you're talking with friends, the discussion can go anywhere. There's no obligation to keep it on theme. But the nice thing, during this whole situation where we're all stuck inside doing stuff like that, I love, getting a bit more like frequent. Every 2 weeks, I sit down with my friend Heinbach and we just chat about stuff. And it's lovely having people on to have a discussion. But, it's good to do that with your friends. Like
exactly.
Yeah. Kim is on.
Do you know the game Animal Crossing, Konstantine?
No, I've never.
I wasn't like not sure what it was, but then someone like made me in Animal Crossing, and it's on my Twitter, and I wonder if I can find the link. It should be on my Twitter. I was like, "What's this game? This seems fun." And I was actually looking at trying to getting a Switch now, but they're all sold out. Yeah, Florent made me in Twitch. I'm gonna throw the link up in the chat, and if you go there, please come back. We'll be talking for a longer time. But this is me in in Animal Crossing.
I need to check
hey, Mick Benjamins, how you doing, mate? I've got another like when we're talking about also game consoles. I've got one here. I made a few videos about very badly because I had no idea how to actually work it. It's a Vectrex. A Vectrex that has been modified to accept CV. And that thing is gorgeous because vector graphics, like when you look at them, they seem so futuristic. While everything was pixel, the cleanliness of the white vector graphics of this thing are just amazing. I'll try and move the camera and so I can show you, and maybe you can hear some of the sound.
Yeah, that would be great. I really like it when I see videos of you using that or other people using that. That's the sound?
Focus, yeah. Yeah. It throws up a lot of dirt also in the whole power. I need to minefield one. I wonder if I need to do because this is modded. Now you can see. So I don't have the controller right now plugged in, but this is like an Asteroids clone.
Yeah, it looks super nice.
And the graphics are just super lovely. And the cool thing is, if you can see to the side, I've got CV inputs for X, Y, and Z, and I've got the blind spot like kill mod. So it won't like turn off when the LFO is too low.
They should make a remake of that with smaller, like small, make it just easier to.
One of those nice consoles to have, like, and also, I mean, like for experimentation, vector graphics is still. I mean, there are people doing absolutely amazing stuff with vector graphics, importing like images, and Derek Holzer, who also modded this one, and he takes this one all the way when he's doing like lectures here in Berlin. He's got a whole book on vector graphics and how to make like amazing shapes with that and use it in art. It's really, really, really cool. So
I've seen people do like almost 3D faces and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was on Muff Wiggler. I remember that when I saw that somebody modeled like a face in 3D in that, I was like, where can I get that? And I was, excuse me, I was really, really fortunate to find like one with games and controllers really cheaply, because they were not like known in Germany at all, and they were not collectibles at all. And I think they are now. Paul, about the book, I'll have to dig it up. It's called by Derek Holzer. Give me a second, I'll dig it up. He had it on Kickstarter, and I don't know if he still got some. But yeah, Derek Holzer Vector Synthesis. Yeah. It was on Kickstarter. Oh, and just look at the graphic that you see when you just pull it up. It's rather beautiful. And I made, as I said, like 2 videos with the Vectrex. They're not good by any standards, because I tried things that wouldn't work with that. I tried to sequence it via the Seat Lombard, and the voltage levels on Seat Lombard are very peculiar. So, but if you have something like maths or an analog computer, which I might be having some soon, then you can make awesome stuff with something like that, where you get all the voltage ranges.
Analog computer.
Yeah. I actually I've been wanting to get into analog computers for a long time, and I've been talking to one of the best guys in that field, Bernd Ullmann, since a year ago, to visit him and because he's also part of the Vintage Computer Museum, and I was thinking about going there, visiting there, doing a residency, and staying there for 3 days or something like that. But last year it didn't happen. Last year I didn't have the time or the resources. But now, thanks to everybody who supports what I do on Patreon, I basically take that money to do things like that. Like I could travel and stay longer, for example, in Rotterdam. So and take the time off to do all that. And when this crisis is over, that's something I'm really looking forward to go there and learn from basically one of the best guys in that field, how to work with analog computers. And in my Willem II video, I already showed a bit how these machines can be used musically. Oh, I didn't show that. Hans showed that. And then I found one of the simple analog computers on German classifieds. It's a Dornier DO 80, which sounds like an old bomber, but it's like an analog computer from the 1960s. And I think it runs on 5 volts. So the whole thing could theoretically be completely interpatchable. And I just hope it works, because he said it won't, it seems to turn on. It doesn't smell. I don't know anything more.
That's I love that you have to use your nose.
He's a computer expert. He got it basically as a gift from university for his work there. And he says if I ever sell it, he wants to buy it back, which is something that many people do now with the stuff that I buy. They say, okay, even the mixing board that I got. He said, if you sell this again, just call me back, right?
I have a question though. What is an analog computer? Right, so I have a lot of analog modules.
You have basically with Modular, Van der Waal says is the Surge is basically an analog computer. And when I worked with and the way it feels, even it's very analog computerish in the way that you can do all these subtractions, integrations, comparators, and stuff like that. You can do that with modular synthesizers. Maths is a thing for that. You could just have you could just do modular analog computing with the maths, but the thing that's different for that is the interface, because all the analog computers, they've got 10-turn knobs, so you can get really fine results. So for control, they use extremely fine ways to control that, while math has just these Davies. I think Davies, right?
No, I don't. Is it?
Is it Davies?
No, I don't think it's Davies knobs. No, because the Davies knobs are
So yeah, but that's the thing.
I know I'm a geek because I have them in my drawer. I think these are Davies.
And these are Davies. Okay, so the other ones, what are the knobs that are used on the old school maths? I know of the old school ones. Rogans,
yeah.
We'll probably if Low Gain should be in the chat, he's gonna be you know nothing. No, he's a nice guy. No, but one thing about the analog computer, I mean, basically analog computing rigs, like, is how I've built also like all the generative stuff that I did with the modular. You know, you take like switches, you offset different levels, and then there's modules like the jack that do complex calculations on what you put in, basically, that are at a fixed value. But basically, it's very related to that. But I just want to dive into like how it was, you know, how it was, and go for that pure thingy. So
yeah, but you need the interface. I mean, that makes a huge difference. A huge difference. Like when you have the old looking thing in front of you and it's heavy and it, you know, it has all those switches and so many options and stuff like that. It makes a big difference on how you approach it, right?
Definitely. Such a boomer, Heinbach. Simon, no, I'm not a boomer. I'm even too, what's it called? I'm even too young for Generation X. So I think I was 15 when Kurt Cobain died. So yeah, I'm something in between. I don't know what's the medium age of that. But yeah, about like, that's the whole thing also with the test equipment. It's my music history thing that I'm diving in. And that's something that I'm very, very like interested into discovering, and where I'm putting like time and resources in to go onto this history trip and maybe show that electronic music has a long and rich history, and it's not just this thing that came up recently and is used to make people dance, which is all fine and great, awesome. But there is a rich history of electronic music, and that influences the way that we think and work with these instruments from the past to the now. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
With that, why I got the analog computer.
I think the modular system has opened that up a bit, I would say. Well, it is being used for dance music and tech. Ooh.
Nope.
You should give us a heads up so we can shut up so you can do some Mason.
No. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. But you're right, the modular has opened that up. And there are some like, I mean, like there's stuff like the Logic Boss.
Yeah.
That's very abstract data, that's very complex, and that can do like a bunch of stuff, I think, that this analog computer can do. And it would be interesting to see, like, try out. I'll get to know the analog computer, and then it will be see, like, same as I did with the test equipment, to see how to adapt that, to modular, basically. And then, of course, how to adapt that, to VCV rack and stuff like that.
That would be interesting.
So everybody has access to it, basically. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I was considering getting one of the crazy ideas that I've had about modular systems, because I make different small cases like with different stuff. I've been considering doing an analog computer thing. There was a big discussion on Moth Wigglers about it as well. Okay. Like people getting interested in, because so many, Ladek, from the Czech Republic, he has like a bunch of super simple modules, and Dopefer has a bunch of super modules, and you can do like a big case. And I was just thinking, only inputs and outputs, no knobs, nothing. Like if you need to calculate something, you'd have to patch it up. There's only get the modules that have inputs and outputs, no sliders, no knobs, nothing. Just get those. It would be a big system with just jacks.
Yes. Oh, cool.
That would have been interesting.
I'm just thinking about, like, it just reminded me of something. Chaos. They've got like crazy computers, but they're like they're like modern like what's do you know the name?
Is it the one which is like an analog to digital converter?
Yeah, exactly. Zeta or something? Is it that? No.
I have to find the name. If you give me a second.
It's really interesting what they said about that and how it works and what you can do with that. And basically, they're building a whole like computer system with that. And that was one of their hard projects. Like, this is like the thing that they want to build and they love. So yeah,
I think one is Leipzig. No, wait, I have it. I have them on the site for stuff that I want to buy. So it's Dresno, 1989 binary conversion computer.
Okay.
Lipsk.
Babel Kaiki wrote a Chaos Leibniz subsystem.
Yeah, in Jena. Yeah,
Jena, of course. Mm-hmm.
I have I think I mentioned it recently. I have the R2R from Electron. which is a very absolutely lovely module. It's passive, and it's just like 8 inputs and one. Well, it has like, it's very small, 4 HP, and it has 9 jacks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a digital to analog converter essentially, and it's passive. So if you plug triggers or gates, it actually does a calculation and outputs a CV based on what's high and what's low. Brilliant. And you can use it like a bunch of ways, like a weighted mixer. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. Super simple module, totally underrated. I love it. It's a fantastic sequencer. Just send triggers and you get a CV on the output. So super nice. I love these kinds of modules.
Yeah, and but these are like not the ones that do and get the big sales, because it's they're also like, when I think about stuff like that, I really think this is not easy to like demo even. You know, that can be like difficult because these are like utilities, right? It can be difficult to like demo Logic. Demoing Logic is something that I find it's challenging. I made a demo with like of the coherence module, which is very powerful. It's like a super nice integrator and can do so many things.
Yeah.
But wrapping your head about how to make that sound, like how to make that convey, because basically you're using it not as a source, as like if it was a filter, but just a creamy or chocolatey or gray, stale, or something like that. You could use all these kind of adjectives and people would kind of understand. But you can say that Logic is tight. That Logic is, because there is also such a thing. I mean, like some Logic modules feel super tight. Some have got the delay, you know. For example, like the Pittsburgh timetable, that's just super tight, and that's why I love it. It's so tight, and I keep like raving about this forever. And while something like the what's it called, the shuffling clock multiplier, that has like the delay because it's like Arduino.
But the difference being, the one is a divider, right? So dividers are never like, if they're built correctly, whereas the multiplier needs at least 2 clocks in order to
count.
figure out.
The test equipment ones, they're like, I don't know how they do it. They're super fast. They're crazy. They're crazy in that regard. Like the multipliers there, I don't know how this works, but they're like, they feel so instant. It's very interesting.
The RCD, which is the equivalent of the divider from 4MS, probably one of the first modules they made in Eurorack. Still love it. I still think it's one of the best clock dividers out there. Very musical. So many options. It's like everything is covered.
Yeah. And we're on topic with modules because now we're adding someone to the stream who some of you might know. It's DivKid.
Hello,
buddy.
Hello. I heard clock divider and came running.
Awesome, man. So, but before we go into modules and clock dividers and all that other synthesizer stuff, we have to talk about whiskey. What are you drinking?
A single malt. I did as I was told. I was good. An American one. Balcones Texas single malt whiskey.
Balcones?
Yeah.
American single malt. Interesting.
Balcones.
Okay.
And I met Winston. He's no longer with the company, but a guy called Winston. This sounds like a really random story. Online, getting into synths. I think he's really into video synthesis now. And he was looking to, at the time, I think, sponsor some synth events.
Oh, okay.
With a general idea that Jack Daniels is the kind of whiskey of the rock world. They wanted to be the synth whiskey of the world, or at least Winston did. I'm not sure about the rest of the company.
Really good plan.
And he's very generous. He sent a bottle over. Ken Flux 302 is good friends with Winston, and I saw Ken drinking it for some time. So it's good. Got to give it to them. It's very good whiskey.
Cool. It's probably, but since it's American, it's not covered in our book. So do you have a little bit of background information when this is made, or like anything?
This, we can maybe get the website up. This batch is. I can give you a batch number 2017.
Okay.
October 31st.
Okay.
And I don't know, they've a good range, I think. Would you like the flavor notes on the back?
If you do, please.
Yeah. A timeless style of malt whiskey, Balcones quote 1, Texas single malt breathes new life into centuries of distilling tradition with classic techniques and ingredients adapted for new world tastes. Opening aromas bear hints of toffee and overripe fruits. On the palate, layers of toasted malt and honey give way to mellow notes of baked pears and apples. A long finish is accompanied by cinnamon and cloves. Texas made, Texas proud. We hope you enjoy the whiskey. We owe our success to you enjoying it.
Awesome.
There we go.
Yeah.
Definitely get the stewed fruit kind of vibe.
Okay.
Not that I'm a particular connoisseur of whiskey, but
yeah. I think like I said it on the last podcast, last stream before. I love whiskey, but I don't really know much about them except which ones like. Cheers. And so we know probably more about synthesizers than whiskey. So this is also self-educating.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, if I hope I know more about synths than whiskey. We're in trouble if I don't.
Especially with that big system behind you. That would be weird if you didn't.
Yeah. I set up there's a drum stool and a modular case and some other wooden boxes stacked up for the purpose of getting this shot at the minute. The studio is so storeroom in vibe at present that I thought I can build a laptop holding tower. So there we go.
Yeah, it's kind of like that's one thing that I've also noticed, like in the whole process of turning a music studio, which my studio is basically, into a video studio. There's so much stuff that you run across, like that gets in the way, and it's so annoying in the end, like because I basically need a light there, so I need to be able to move lights. I need to be able to move mics. Everything needs to be kind of movable, because else you're not getting a good shot, and that's all stuff that's not important when you're having a music studio. And that took me so long to figure out how to get a workflow going in the room that I make music with, and how to combine that with the video. And especially like now like the place where I film my videos, usually like when I've got something on my table, there used to be just like boxes of like cables and stuff in the background, and then it started to grow with the whole test equipment piece by piece. I would, if someone feels like that, it would just like a comparison between like a picture from 2 years ago and then the picture that is now, that would be or how I live way in between. I think that's kind of crazy in that regard.
It's a whole different mindset, and this I've had to pull a load of gear in as work, and life has changed a lot recently. So like I said, it's very storeroom in vibe, which isn't the most inspiring of things, but also picking up large pieces of gear. I got a Vox Jaguar organ, which is great. Okay. It's a bit like the Vox Continental, but it's huge. Part of the reason I bought it, when I do move into a new space, is it will make a table. It's effectively a table with keys on it that happens to sound nice.
Yeah. That's like the Rhodes here.
The table that sounds nice.
Yeah, exactly like a Rhodes. It can be a pedal shelf. I can put some other synths on top. Yeah, so I've got a few pieces like that. The Akai AX73, which is very Juno 106, kind of Akai's attempt at a Juno. Slightly grittier, which can be good or bad, of course. But that's very minimal control panel, and then effectively again table. So that may be where the pedal board sits, or a skiff, or something else.
Are you moving to a bigger location?
Coronavirus has thrown it up in the air. We were extending where we live and building a purpose-built space, and generally family extending and things like that. So when that will happen now, I don't know. We were looking at that happening in a few weeks. So I'm currently looking around the towers of stuff stacked up, wondering what we're going to do, but I can make it work. We'll just see. If you look up at kind of, there's almost like garage shelving units that take, a ton of weight per kind of rack, a bit like your test equipment. There's some surge at the top. It's lucky I'm tall, because there's some surge at the top And
there's
it's like,
a search at the top. And do you have to climb on a ladder, or do you?
No, I can reach. I can pull it down. It's a little.
I'm standing on a ladder.
It's a little bit like if I'm just on a laptop, angle that back, the modular tower goes somewhat fairly high and well stacked.
Wow, that's kind of crazy. I would never do that.
You can just about patch uncomfortably, but it's to pull down more than anything. Okay. And I find for me, rather than it being stored, that if I can see it, I much more like to go, that's the right thing for the job, and I'll pull it down onto the desk.
Yeah.
If it's in a drawer, it's not going to come out at all.
Not there. It's not there. Sure. I had the same thing, even like with my, I've got like 3 or 4 Brilliant Cares thingies stuck right next to the test equipment, and they were just a little bit off, and I angled them, and I never used them because they didn't feel part of the instrument. They were right next. Now I've made them flat, and I've basically put this mixer on them so I can just patch them. And now it's perfect. I use them, but it's such simple things that can make you, and that goes for any studio, anything that's not like permanently connected or has to be moved all around, you're not gonna use. When I did like this stuff, like I did a bit of consulting, like you got a different opinion? Just let me tell you one story. I've got like I had to, like, when I did bunch of, like, when I started Patreon, I did a bunch of like one-to-one like talks, and many of these things were with people that lived like in places where they didn't have much space, but they wanted to make music because that's what they'd been to, but they were also professionals, they had family. And so one thing that I advised was just like to get like a simple tray, you know, like a breakfast tray, put like a mixer and a few things up there on there, and have that ready, and just unplug the power and then put it away. So you don't, it's a simple thing, but you can just put it up on the table at night, play your music, put it back so the kids won't mess it completely up, and then you can put it back again, and that makes it usable. So it was just one simple idea that I often, it worked in that regard.
Yeah, but so I have 2 quotes in my head. The one was from, I think it came from, I don't remember the exact quote, right? So I'm paraphrasing, but I remember reading something from David Lynch, the director, who was saying that when creativity hits, you have to be ready. Like, you have to have everything prepared. You can't go into the studio and start putting stuff in and turning stuff on and doing things like that, which I think is one of the reasons why a lot of people go for modular, because, you know,
it's all turn on
but you turn on the computer and you have to find the samples and find the right plugin, and then something needs an upgrade, and then everything is just gone.
Your wave plan has expired.
Yeah.
When the first time I got that, I was so pissed. I was so pissed. I was middle in the production, and suddenly your wave updates plans. Would you like to renew? Why? Why does my plugin need to talk to the internet right now?
Yeah. And the other person I remember talking about it was you, Einbach. When I was I think, like, I have a fairly big system, and I don't know why it became a bit too much. And at some point I got a bit frustrated, and I remember speaking with Heinbach about it, and he was like, break it down to smaller, get a smaller case, get some stuff in. So ever since, I'm just going to move the camera a bit because I think it's worth looking at. So I have the case, like a case here, and look at that. Unplugged modules for days. Another system, another smaller system, and then I have other systems under there. And each thing, like each case, is a single thing, does one thing. I have the smaller one back there as well.
Okay.
And it's just that. So yeah, and when I feel like it, most of the things are like, yeah, okay, I need to have this system. So I'm going to clean the table, and it's going to be just this system plugged in. I'm just going to focus on this for that day or for a couple of days or whatnot. So everything is clean. And that makes a huge, like, it kind of declutters your head in a way. It's like, this is what I'm working on with right now. Nothing else.
Yeah. I think one of the things that when I visited Willem II, I was really amazed how everything was connected there. Like how you could immediately tape loop and could immediately connect everything and have everything playable, which is super hardcore with all this test equipment stuff. And they said they even haven't connected like the second studio with the ARP 2500, sorry, and the Synthi and all that stuff. They haven't even connected that. And I was like, when you connect those things, it's going to be crazy because then they've got an organ down and a concert room, and just imagining having all that connected and on a patch bay. That's more power than any man should have.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. True.
I do like the tray, like the tea tray idea or the shelf, just the keyboard shelf under my main studio desk. No keyboard on there, but I rotate some nice kind of select pieces of gear, like the Bird Kids voice. An absolute treat of analog synthesis. It's lovely, and I stupidly almost forget what's on there. I put things on there, pull the shelf out. Think, oh yeah, we'll use that today. That's the thing. It's a kind of rotating, forgetful magic space of nice gear, as opposed to being an actual keyboard shelf. So it's a nice kind of way of working, and it keeps it out a bit like you, Konstantine, with the modules. Even if they're not plugged in, I do think it's better that they're there than in a box, out of the way.
Fair point.
Way better.
Although I know what I have, like in the systems underneath the table, there are very specific systems, and then they're never far away from my head because I'm always on modular grid. So I might go to one of those cases. I'm like, I haven't touched that case in a while. Let's just clean everything and bring that case up. So yeah.
But if it's a specific module, that's almost like a chef going into the larder to find the right spice. It's not what's in all the meat, all the dishes, but it's there. They can see it. To me, once it's in the box, it's just a bit too far away sometimes. If it's a very specific task, then like you, I know everything in the room, however messy it is. But it kills motivation finding it, digging boxes out if the power supply is not packed up in the same place.
Not labeled.
Yeah, of course. Despite owning a label maker, nothing is labeled.
What? You don't label your power supplies?
No.
I do.
Really? I learned that trick from you. Come on, dude.
I forget. Sometimes I saying Greek. I preach water and drink wine. Yeah. Can I get one? Dream Crash said in the chat that he's lusting over some Starling modular modules, and the one thing that the guys from that company, they're amazing in that he's got the biggest collection of nuclear instrumentation modules I've ever seen. And I think he even made like a game of Pong with nuclear instrumentation modules, which fits into a little analog computing thingy. And many of their designs take cues from test equipment, and really, really big, because he's got the most out there stuff, like in regards to test equipment and medical equipment and nuclear equipment, giant setups. I was really like, we were talking like on Instagram, like video Skyping, and it was really like, I was amazed. I was like, this is so cool. And then they wanted to send me the modules, and they got like basically like lost in shipping. And I wanted to do a whole like nuclear instrumentation Starling modular, like to see the roots and trace that, but that never happened because of stupid like getting lost in post. But he's a really, really smart guy. There's really smart guys, the two, and I love what you can do with those modules and the whole mindset behind them.
It's great, very nice. A limited time playing around with them, but very impressive. I had some weird postal experiences where I was sending just a standard analog oscillator, forget the actual model, but nothing too out there, Eurorack wise, across to Germany, sold a module. It went to New York and lived in New York for 2 weeks, according to the tracking over Christmas. It had Christmas and New Year in New York, and then finally went over to Germany. At least the tracking was active, so you could ring find the New York number somehow. I remember being on hold for ages, and they were like, "Yeah, it'll go back whenever." The kind of next thing out now is it's not going to be for a few days.
Were you scared?
Kind of. The guy I sold it to was really cool because I was sending him screenshots of all the tracking all along, so he knew it wasn't me that was trying to kind of rip him off. And I said, look, it's insured, it takes a while. At least with Royal Mail, you've got to wait a certain period over another certain period after it being lost. But I said, we'll get the money. And worst comes to worst, I will just refund you and I'll hang on for the insurance on the package. So it wasn't too bad. Yeah. But it was quite a long time. It was about a month to find it. And then once we knew it was in New York, that's when it had Christmas and New Year.
it was the Jason Bourne of packages. It's just like all over the place. Difficult to locate. Yeah. Any nightmare stories about packages, Heinbach? It's a good topic.
Oh man, so many. Like I went in Germany, you have to go like for everything that I get, I have to go to customs, and customs is like it's in half an hour from my place, 40 if I go by bike, and then you are in this very like Kafkaesque building with big shipping containers in the back, and the picture of the Bundespräsident, and like all like vitrine, like where you put stuff in, like to look at, like glass vitrine, is that a word? Glass cupboard. With full of like fake Nikes, rugs, and like stuffed animals, and all stuff that you're not allowed. And then you you go there. They ask, what did you buy? And I said, yeah, I bought this. And then I said, I got the nuclear instrumentation for. And then they go, privately? I said, yes, and stuff like that. And so always you have to go there, and by now for me it's kind of like, I know the times when there's not busy, but you see all kinds of human drama there. But one time I went there, and then they said, what's gonna be in that package? And I said, oh, it's gonna be Aztec death whistles. And they were like, what?
Oh god.
And yes, it's Aztec death whistle. What is that? Is it like a bong? No, that's an instrument. Okay. And then I had to go into the room, and then the woman there said, can you please open the package? And I opened it, and there were 5 death whistles there. And who don't know it, just Google death whistle and get scared. I might, I might bring one later on down, because my kids love to play with them. But these are like basically meant to sound like a roasted jaguar on the spit, basically. These are war instruments. These are meant like 2,000 warriors having these in front of their mouth, running down with their axes, and like basically these are weapons.
You gave them to your kids.
They take
that must be crazy sounding.
I got these for a theater production, basically, like of a Shakespeare play, and a Greek play, of course, a Greek play of Antigone.
Yeah, and you need some roasted jaguars. When you're playing
roasted jaguars to get the Greek tragedy going. No, but then and then she asked me, oh, yeah, is this like a pipe or something for smoking? I said, no, it's an instrument. And then, can you demonstrate? And I said, you don't want me to do that. Why not? This is a weapon of war. You don't want me to play that. She was, really? I said, yes. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy if I play this here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, please pack up. And then I packed up and got back out, got the receipt, and then I left. and then I was so happy to have these. So I took the smallest one out with me, and I just blew it outside, and immediately my ears went into like because it was so loud. These things are so loud; they're absolute horror. And yeah, we had 5 of them on stage of different sizes. The biggest one was like this, and the smallest one was like this. And the actors would play them, and the actors had to, like, before they played them, they put in like ear protection. These are really, really cool instruments, and I got the ones because I know people are going to ask. I got these. There's on Etsy, there's a manufacturer who builds these in Mexico, but ships them via the States, I think. And those are really good ones. I forgot the name, but if they look like legit, if they look like old ones and they're not like painted like a bong, they're good. So
is it the thing that looks like like a skull ocarina that you have?
Yeah, skull ocarina.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I've seen that one.
And you can shape the sound. You can do really otherworldly sounds with that. Especially just put a bunch of reverb on there, pitch it down like 4 octaves, and you're like. And I mean, that's a connotation also, because this is a war instrument, like the bagpipes also, which were originally just really like a sheep's stomach stuffed with pipes. So this is serious stuff, and you get that still. And I play. Oh, you can hear it like in even the. I started my channel with all these improvisations on Fiat Lombard, and really calm, soft music. But I had the death whistle on there, and I used to play the death whistle and kalimba on Mbira through the Seat Lombard, and it fitted perfectly. Because when you blow it softly, it can a really haunting long note, and you can see that on my channel in the Weimar sessions. Like that's a playlist on my channel. Yeah.
How come you have to go to customs all the time? Is it because they're not sure of what something is, or is it paying a customs fee for receiving the package?
Customs fee. So basically, customs fees. I have to pay a lot of custom fees all the time. So
I do outside the EU, and of course with Brexit, which we don't need to get into talking about Brexit, the mess that is. But that will change. But as of now, and while we're still acting under the EU, within Europe, there's no customs for us.
Exactly. And that's
still right. I think it both
until
ways.
the 1st of January, yeah. And same for UK. You shouldn't, if I was to send you a package, you shouldn't pay customs on it, I don't think.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be awesome, because I'm also getting because I just scored a bunch of test equipment on an auction site. So I hope that, I don't have to go to customs.
You shouldn't have to in Europe, though.
Pardon me?
I don't get why you have to within Europe.
Within Europe, you don't have to. But it's
okay, this is all things from outside. Okay,
States, Japan. And the only where it didn't have to pay anything was when I got when it's below 70, including shipping. 70 euros including shipping, then it's fine.
It's really low here.
You pay when something comes from Switzerland or Norway and stuff like that.
Yeah, Switzerland, Norway.
Okay.
Yeah. I got burned. I ordered from I don't remember the shop. It wasn't a good shop. From Norway, and I got burned because there were customs. I freaked out. Like, Scandinavia, it's right across the border. It's right there. Come on. It's like, nope.
Different world.
Customs.
Yeah, it's a really low threshold here. I think $20 roughly, about £15, I think.
They make life so much difficult for them, but yeah, it's also impossible. Sometimes manufacturer or people that send me stuff, they want to do a nice thing and say, oh, this is only worth $10. And then if you get something like that, of course it's going to get flagged. And we're in Germany, so everything is by the book. So sometimes there's a huge catalog. Like anybody who needs tips for that, there's a huge catalog of called TARIC, tariffs. So you can put the correct number, because what these agents are basically looking for, what's the number I have to type in so I get the correct text. And for example, something like this, a keyboard like this, no text.
Okay.
Only that. But a keyboard like a musical keyboard, 3.7% or 4.5% text on top. So there's some stuff. One time there was a nice text agent, and I had gotten a Q Neo controller, and because that could be used for both music and typing or control for graphic programs, anything, she put it under computer keyboard, so I didn't have to pay that extra tax. Yeah. But that was I made other people horror story with this thing. It was not like the package. The other things are just they happen all the time.
The problem with marking packages lower, which people get asked all the time, hey, just write $10 on there.
Yeah.
That's all it will be insured for. And I know friends have had issues with even insured posts still not paying out. But if something goes wrong, it's worth what they wrote on the parcel. So you can't then go back and say, hey, there's £1,000 worth of gear in there, or it doesn't work. Yeah, it's blindingly obvious when some of this stuff comes through and it's way off. So do you have a lower base rate of tax that is VAT? I know this is well away from single malt.
Germany is 19% tax.
And then these codes go on top, depending on what.
But of course, I can deduct the VAT. So except now all because I make now everything basically Patreon is my main thing. So and Patreon already took the VAT, because they pay and even Bandcamp, they all have to take care of the VAT. So there's how I'm gonna recalculate that VAT again. But now we're getting into very busy details that I don't think people are.
No, it's neither synthesis or single malt.
But I have Julian says on the chat about that he got stopped at airport security in Germany with agents with guns, and he had an Arturia Mini Brute. I remember getting So the trick is Julian and whoever is watching, because whenever I go to play in Berlin, Heinbach has kindly invited me a couple of times for a couple of shows, and whenever I have the Modular, because I travel patched, so they open the bag on Berlin airport, and it's like this thing full of cables every single time, right? So the trick is, when they freak out, tell them you're a DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single time. They're like, okay. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
People, like, countries are so different. Like, Canada is super relaxed. Canada was super relaxed. And places like Colorado, also super relaxed airport, super relaxed security. Norway, Oslo was insane. Like, I don't know, probably the guy was in training, but he put like my stuff 3 times, everything again and again and again. And it was stupid. In Berlin, it's like, wieder einer, another
Berlin,
DJ.
Yeah, Berlin, they low. They didn't even break a sweat. Never. They're super cool in Berlin. It's like, yeah, okay. Another guy with a Modular. You know, you probably run into someone who says like, you don't have enough VCAs. What kind of stuff is this?
Yeah.
Well,
if that happens, oh, it's fun. It's fun.
I'd love that, being pulled aside and them just kind of taking you by the shoulder, and it's not a good system.
Yeah, not like
not enough modulation. What are you doing, man? Sort yourself out. In at Manchester Airport, when traveling with cameras, lots of cables, just saying news reporter, and they go, right, okay, and they kind of get cable, microphone. That's the kind of buzzword for any of them to just be like, right, okay, yeah, pack your bag and it's fine.
Yeah. You also have to check, like, because I have got all my stuff always in carry-on, like all the important stuff, and my Seat Lombard, so it has to be like, it will get swiped usually, but some airlines have like, they changed like the restrictions so hard, so you have to like, even like if I've flown like so many times with the same like bag, some airlines like Flybe or something, it's just tighter, so it can be like hit and miss. And if I would have to like check that bag, it would be like a death sentence for the instruments.
I fought that through so many times. It's almost like not a recurring nightmare, fortunately, but more than once of you just wouldn't want to fly. It'd be okay. I'll go out of the airport. I'll figure this out some other way. Flybe doesn't exist anymore. A victim of coronavirus.
Oh, okay, crazy. Yeah, but they were like, I mean, like the guy I think he was a Russian guy who was like doing the check-in. He was like, and I was like, I was putting on my best, like, this is my instrument. You can't.
Poor little me.
What are you doing to my instrument? This is my life. And it was like, it's true. I'm not like, it's what I am, but it was like fully going, and it was like, okay, yeah, go through. You'll see. They will check in the thing, but you'll be okay. So, but they never checked because they were late on schedule. So it's like, everybody in, fly. Oh man! So you can charm your way through some of these things.
Well, was it because of the size, or because it was like what it was?
Like because they usually it's 25 centimeters, and they've got 20 centimeters, so that makes almost all carry-on ready bags automatically not getting checked. So you need to pay extra. But now they're a thing of history. Flybe.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the ASMR, or is it AMSR? I always get it the wrong way around with the.
Do.
I did enjoy that earlier. I caught that part of the stream.
Okay. Yeah, it did sound really nice.
So everybody do one.
It should be a good test for microphones.
Oh yes. Okay.
Like it should be you should check Whisky opening see if the mic is good.
Okay, I'm gonna get another glass. So this. Didn't plop as much because the first time it plops more because of the vacuum. It doesn't gluk anymore. So it's really the first glass that is the good one. All Foley artists probably know that, but if you're an aspiring Foley artist, you have to get a fresh bottle of whiskey.
Form a serious drinking habit.
Yeah, and then it's like, it didn't work. We need to open another one. That wasn't good. Let's do it again. Let's open a third one.
Does IBB block? I traveled from Colorado with the thing that I discussed in Monday's video about like distortion. I traveled with a nuclear instrumentation amplifier that's like used for naval, like marine biology and like for sonar stuff and for like nuclear research. And I put that in my bag because that's the only way I could fit it, because I had more test equipment in my checked luggage.
Of course.
I didn't want to, because I didn't want to bring any instruments over there. So they didn't want to be like, oh, you're a musician, you're working here. No, I just want to hang out with my friend and make like music at his place. So I basically bought test equipment as instruments and had it shipped to him. And then I took them back. And but I went with that. And he said, he asked if I was a tattoo artist. Because it looked like a tattoo machine. And they have some of the same connectors. So, yeah. The only thing I was worried about, because I joke about this, but I didn't have a Geiger counter, so I didn't know if this thing had any radiation. I didn't know if they checked for radiation.
I doubt they do in the airport.
No, they don't. Maybe, probably they should. I don't know.
Imagine they could if they needed to. Maybe just not first.
Yeah, Colorado in general is a very chill state. I really liked it there. So.
Seattle was as well. I had my phone out because it had the screen grabs of all the visa information, or the ESTA, the visa waiver that I was on. And I had so you could see it was in my hand. And of course, you're not really supposed to have your phone out in the airport, certainly not in security. He just said, oh, it's okay, put your phone away. And I just said, sorry, it's got my ESTA information on when you need it. I couldn't print it out. He said, nah, don't worry. What are you here for? Told him, and just to see friends, talking at an event. Kind of it. Extended the trip to see people, to network. Right, okay, go on. And just totally open. When I landed in San Diego a few years ago, I had the same thing you had, Heimbach, of why are you here? If you're making music, it's work. What are you doing? It's like, no, I just want to hang out with some friends that, yes, I've made music with online, but we just here to hang out and make music. But they wouldn't have it. That was hours and hours of being in the airport and being questioned on that.
It really messed you up. And that's why I'm like, I would love to tour in the States. That would be like a dream of mine. And I think most of talked to Kuku and said, I would also love to tour the States. But that visa process is so expensive. And so like now it's not going to happen anyway. So that's like complete fiction now, touring. But still, like the visa
local gig down the road is a thing of fiction now. Never mind a tour.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of like it's bad, but I still get like asked like booked for gigs like in the winter. Things are happening, but I don't know if they're like. I have one theater commission, and that's supposed to be in September, and I was like, "Is it even happening?" She, yeah, of course.
Friends that work doing big world tours, mainly doing live sound or front of house or monitor live sound, they're saying that late September things are starting to be booked. And he said it's too early for things to be booked. He said, so clearly everybody's raring to go and booking ahead from kind of last week of September onwards. Yeah. But it does feel uncertain.
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, well. It does. I'm not touring, but from what I hear from friends and on the internet and stuff, like all the concerts that I wanted to see have been canceled or replanned for September onwards. Nobody's planning anything sooner than that.
Yeah, definitely. But we're like kind of, and that's another, now we're coming back to the big announcement that some of you might have seen already on the Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. But I know that's like, some of you only, I shouldn't never buy a cheap stand for your microphone. Never cheap out on that. That's one advice. Because we're gonna take this stream big, and Ben is gonna be on that, and it will be during Superboost, like when Superboost was supposed to happen on the 22nd to the 24th. We'll be doing live streams every day from 4 to 10 with the official part, and we'll have manufacturers jumping in and jumping off and demoing their stuff. Some of them send stuff to us to demo, and then we talk about that. And it's only like people that have just one or two more. It's mostly like people have 1 or 2 modules out. So you won't see Behringer there, you won't see Roland there, you won't see the big companies there.
Yeah.
And we've got a pretty nice lineup. And I think Konstantine, you know a bit more about. You've got the list of the lineup right now. Who's confirmed?
Should I mention the lineup?
Yeah, mention a few names.
We have a big names. Who's big and who's small in this niche, but
definitely.
But yeah, we have some cool people like ADEX System, Chair Audio, Befaco are going to be there. Bastel, DPW, Gould Caseworks, Instrument of Things, Analog, Leipzig, Coma, Music Thing, Patchpoint,
yeah,
and more. Yeah, there's going to be
and more. Yeah, and basically, this is, I kind of imagine this as being like Super Booth. We've got all this very planned chaos. It feels really, if you've been there, it feels really chaotic. I mean, like with all the noise coming in everywhere, and then people in there, like there where the swim bath is, where people are just like in their swimming trunks, you walk by them and you go, "Hey, bro, bro, bro." And then outdoor people doing music there, and it has like this chaotic vibe, which I completely like. But it's, of course, it's all planned, so it's gonna be, there's a grid to everything, but the grid is loose, and it's gonna be like this. You're walking from booth to booth, and there will be random encounters with many different people, all of the people like that are in this whole synthesis scene during the time, and afterwards we'll have like a hangout, like a Whisky hangout, as we should, because we'll be wasted after like so many hours of streaming. And
because we do that during Super Booth as well, so might as well.
So it's gonna be our Whisky hangout after, and I've got like Andreas Schneider, who basically is Schneider's Laden, of course. He's coming on, and we've got Peter Kern who's coming by. We've got Gaz Williams and many more, and it's gonna be just a fun hangout after. And I kind of think this can be a really beautiful thing. I hope.
Yeah.
I was really excited when I heard about it. Every single name.
You're joining now, so that's really good.
It's going to be lovely having you on.
No, thank you for that. As someone that, well, I'm not saying nobody else works like crazy. It's a hard event for everyone, but I just work at Super Booth, and actually this year, for the first time, I wasn't going to work. I'd not got any sponsorship lined up. I wasn't going to do. It was 56 videos last year. It was 62 the year before.
I saw you. I saw you.
I look a mess now, and I've been at home all day, imagining hours of Super. So I was so looking forward to just actually connecting with everyone beyond just let's get it on camera. Don't tell me now. Tell me on camera and getting the video out. And that's been great. And I love that the community likes and engages with those videos. But I was so looking forward to just hanging out.
Yeah.
Exactly what you want from the stream, where I'd see you walk in. I couldn't really come and say hello because I was in the middle of filming something. Then you'd gone and I'd catch you for a minute. I remember Ross Lamond handing over the case for the Metasonic.
Yeah.
Then it was
that was lovely.
Just such a lovely thing to be around, and I just wanted that all day, every day. Not leaving it. We used to leave at around 4:35 in the afternoon to go and edit, because it's about getting the video out quickly. And
now we're just all doing it live.
But that's it. I actually get to do the bit I wanted to do. Of course, seeing and touching all the gear would be great, but I love this idea of just dropping in and everybody dropping in and out, and every single person. There's 1 or 2 brands maybe I don't know personally, but very good people. Every single one of them is such a good person.
Yeah,
that's super nice. That's the best part, I think, like hanging out. But I think the only thing we're going to really miss is some crazy stuff that you can't account for. Well, I'm sure there's going to be during the streaming. But I remember, was it last year or the year before that, when a wedding was taking place on the higher floor, and then just like everyone was synth crazy, and then you have all these people sharply dressed coming down and being like,
and all the kids, because of the educational stuff they do with the primary school kids, seas of children that are kind of knee high or and you're just like, what is this? And then Andreas Schneider really lovingly is kind of taking a class of kids to go try stuff and get involved. It's amazing.
Yeah, Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to miss that, but at least we'll have part of the craziness. I'm actually very much looking forward to the live stream. It's going to be fun having all those people. It's going to be crazy. 3 days.
Yeah.
It's going
to be crazy. I think that's going to be a wild thing. Like starting from 4, and then I think at 9, 10, we're going to be finished with the main streams, like with all the people that, like the manufacturers, and then hanging out. And I want to leave this also, like we've got a few people like that said they want to come in, but of course not every day. But I think I want to also leave the random stuff open, like the random, like somebody pulls you and you're just talking like this, talking like that. I think that's going to be the main thing. And after that, I'm definitely in need of a small holiday. Not
after that, yeah.
I'll be doing a week off from YouTube probably.
Which is exactly how it happens after Super Booth, right? Like after 3 days, and then you have Sunday, and then on Sunday, I can't talk anymore.
Last year? 2 years ago, I played 2 shows on Sunday. It never stops. Yeah.
Editing is what happens after Super Booth. Usually, it's you sat in the airport. Oh, I'll go do a little bit more editing. I don't begrudge the work I do at all. I'm super love and happy to do it. But yeah, editing trade show footage is a bit of a drag. Truth be told.
Yeah, of course. It's not easy. I mean, like the whole editing, like the time that takes. I'm working on this album right now, and I've recorded 3 tracks. But I recorded the 3 tracks basically in 3 days. But the video editing is double that time. So it's like that's like throwing like in my I want to make this album fast. It's throwing like a stick in that bicycle. So it's like no, slower. Yeah, can't. You have to you have to be careful of your plans. So so maybe I'll just live stream an episode. Just thinking about that now. Just live stream the making of one instead of like having it could be a fun thing, but could also be
disaster.
Like not a disaster. I try to like make like these videos open and don't try to edit like my mistakes. I like to the one thing that I personally like about seeing musicians make is seeing their mistakes and how they handle them. Oh, Gerald Fjord. Oh, I don't know. Gerald Fjord. Thanks so much, buddy.
He's been putting some killer patches up lately.
Yeah,
of course. And I saw him live. In Dallas.
Oh, you're lucky. You're lucky. He has some really nice stuff up.
I didn't play, but it was a lovely show where it was really good music, and he's also got crazy masks. And he really made both the show sonically and from the visual aspect very entertaining and interesting.
I had a trip. Well, I was hoping for the Colorado Modular Society kind of annual event in July, hoping to get over there. Me and Gerald was going to be one of the things that we were looking at planning. And of course, we don't need to dwell too much on current situation, but that was one of the things. All these kind of like nice highlights.
Yeah.
Never mind the normality of going out and doing the gigging down the road.
Yeah.
But
DB Pavlan, thank you. No, the thing about the Colorado Modular Society is that it's really, I was there and it was such nice people. It was such fun. And you realize that Denver is a powerhouse of modular because there's WMD there and they produce modules for so many people.
Yeah.
If I had known, I would have done a full video. I just have like videos on my on my phone because I didn't even bring my camera to that modular meetup. I was so surprised how everything comes together there, and the people are so nice. So this is a really cool part of the world in regards to modular synthesis. And one thing what is my personal thing is like I would love to get all these modular groups connected. Because when I played in Aldershot, there's a super good group. And they invited me to play, and it was lovely. And then I played in Coventry, another super lovely group. And I want those people to be together, basically, because then you can travel, you can tour on your own network, basically.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And you can do a modular meetup, everybody bring their stuff, and then you've got a concert on, and you can kind of like do your own, touring network, basically that way. And I really hope that people realize that there are many people like them, and they build all these groups in all these different countries and cities, and just get connected.
Are they organized? Sorry, Ben. Are they organized? Because I know Ben has like you guys do stuff in the UK, right? Like I've seen your face pop up more than a few times. Like in.
I'm sorry you've had to see that.
Yeah, I love seeing your face. You always cover it with that mask thing, but like, no. We have to look at your Ben's face.
We're trying a bit in the UK, certainly, and there's a nice connection between Synthfest, which Sound on Sound magazine do, which is the kind of biggest, most kind of commercial, if you like, trade show synth event in the UK. They don't have performers on, but they are part of Sensoria Music and Arts Festival that do have a lot of performances on. That's why they distinguish themselves. And we know Paul Gilby that started Sound on Sound. He would pick us up. We'd all go to Sheffield. We'd check out the venue. And this is from us doing Modular Meets Leeds now for a few years.
Right. Yeah. That one. Right.
And so it was, Paul reached out and was very quick to kind of support and get us involved, less involved as the years have gone on because we kind of haven't needed to be, but there's still a good relationship there. And trying to, build a network. As you say, someone comes in asking for UK shows and you can immediately, right, we can do this and friends down in Brighton can do this, London here, get up to Manchester and do X, Y, and Z. For how small we are, it's somewhat of a fragmented scene. At least now, as there more and more events have happened in the UK, they're less and less connected. And it's like when you start playing gigs as a teenager, maybe in a rock band or something like that. The first gig, all your family come, all your friends from school come. And then as you get to playing every single week, it's very easy to just not go anymore. 'Cause it's like, I'll see them next weekend, it's fine. And I think that's what's happening now. At one point, it seemed like everyone would go down south to the Brighton Modular Meet. Everyone would come up to the Leeds event. Anything else happening, if it was kind of dotted around the year would be well attended. But there's quite a lot now, and they're somewhat fragmented a little bit. So trying to pull it back together.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And 1 second. Zed, thank you very much, buddy.
Thinking of your shout.
Go ahead. No,
I was going to say, too polite. Just thinking of the shout outs, DB Powell and David. Huge shout out to David. I stayed with David in Seattle for the majority of the 2 weeks. God, he drove me around all over the place. Absolute amazing company, knowledgeable, great stories, and just a really good time. And it pretty much enabled this whole amazing thing to happen around Seattle, down into Portland. So big shout out to Dave. Of course, I've already thanked David, but he is the kind of super host up on the Pacific Northwest.
Nice. Cool. Martin Jamöller, isn't powwow a kind interconnected modular thing? It kind of is, yeah. I mean, I organized 5 shows like on powwow, but I felt like that was a lot of work. For organizing a powwow show with many artists, that was so much work, and I couldn't do it up to a point. And I don't know how much I didn't get too connected to the other groups. I don't know how you feel, Konstantine, because you're still like organizing, right?
We've dropped the ball a bit in Copenhagen. The nice thing when I moved over in Scandinavia, because I live in the south of Sweden, which is super close to Copenhagen, and there's a group of like-minded people in Dansk Modular. Like we have meetups every once per month, and those guys are super organized. Like we have a Slack channel where we talk daily, especially now that everyone is at home. And there's, we exchange information. We meet up every month and then, bring cases, arrange concerts, do stuff like that. So it feels like there's like-minded people here. And then when the powwow offer came up to organize in Copenhagen, I already had a crew, right? Like I had those cool people. And go for it, Heinbach.
Scooterman. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah. So and it wasn't that difficult to organize because I already had a crew. But after a while, it's like 2 or 3 hour show, and it's tough. It takes all day to set it up, make sure that everything works, get everyone in, make sure like every little detail, and then by the end of it, you're like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do this again anytime soon.
They're a lot of work. I mean, we one year streamed I Dream of Wires, just while performances were happening, while a meet was happening, we were like, there's a big empty space on the wall there. We should do something. Let's get some images, some, logos for the artists that are playing, just something. But that meant going, well, who's got some ladders? Because we could rig a cable along here and we could drop a projector in. And, we're not AV specialists, nor do any of us on ladders. So you go in and you do that. It's for us, it's a full day before Leeds happens. And then luckily most of the venue kind of tidy up the day after. But it's a day of prep, at least, actually physically all being there. And then the day before and then the full day of the event to do a kind of big modular meetup.
Yeah, it's like and you don't get like a monetary reward for that. That makes it hard to justify. Like, because if you get 2 kids, there needs to be like a value attached to things, because also it's a free time activity, and that could be almost better spent like hanging out with the kids, kind of, and you can't do stuff only for exposure. And I love during the powwows, I really love that, but there was always for me like the discrepancy between the gear and the music gear, because everybody had these beautiful modular synthesizers, and then we use these, like the camera that I've got here, which is kind of crappy, and you have to like tie everything down and use these tiny connectors. And Simon, say I'm a dirty hippopotamus. I have to say that again. I'm a dirty hippopotamus. That's a Nilpferd, right? A rhino? Yeah. So basically, but still, I love the idea that about the whole powwow, and I love, for example, what the people in Tokyo are doing. They're doing it really well, right?
Oh God! Every single month.
They're prime.
Yeah, they're kind of killing it. After Tokyo, it was like, there's no use. Like, why we should, like, they do every single month. It's like, I'm not gonna do this stuff anymore.
Yeah. They're fine.
Yeah, they're killing it every single month.
Yeah.
I do think though, this isolation we're in and all this extra engagement and communication, I hope one of the good things to come out of it is that we're better connected on the other side. I'm in a town called Bradford, consistently voted one of the worst places to live in England. I would argue different, having seen a good amount of it touring and things. But anyway, there's a little space called Fuse Art Space. I've still not managed to go down to the last few things that they've been doing, but I only became aware of them very recently. And when I was over in Seattle, took a few days trip down to Portland, Marcus Fisher messaged me on Instagram. Hey, I hear you're in Portland. I'm like, yeah, it's been great so far. And he's like, I'm in Portland. I'm like, oh, I didn't know. I'll come round. So I went round the day after to see Marcus. And he got chatting as we were setting up to do a video and just playing around effectively. And then he mentioned coming to Bradford. I'm like, why would you come to Bradford? Like, nothing comes to Bradford. Leeds is the biggest kind of town around us, and then Manchester effectively. He said for Fuse Art Space. I'm like, what's Fuse Art Space? Like, why? Okay. And he's like, you could have come for curry and we could have done this, and I was literally only there not that long before you'd flown out here. And I hope everybody kind of starts to connect these dots and these things, and because I can imagine there's an audience at Fuse that maybe is unaware of the modular stuff. They're seeing them come through the art space and those events, but maybe aren't quite aware of what's going on. With the country's media museum in Bradford, it's one of its kind of biggest highlights, as it were. Okay. And there's no connection with anyone that I know of to that stuff with the modular, all the work that people are doing. And there'd be a really obvious connection for events and education. So I'm hoping everything kind of interconnects that bit better.
Yeah, and then in the end, like when all this is passed, we can all like actually physically travel to these places, because that's where for me the true magic lies. I played like just a month. Is it a month ago or 2 months ago? I played in Lillehammer. And there's a friend of mine who's organizing Lillehammer Experimental, and he puts on experimental shows in Lillehammer, which is a tiny town. And he said to me, don't play longer than 45 minutes. I said, okay, I play 60 minutes. I always play 60 minutes or longer. And I did that. And then he said, yeah, good that you did. But at 45 minutes, the people get restless because they're not used to this kind of music. It's still very new. And I realized that I felt like okay, now they're getting a bit antsy. They want to go for have a beer or something. But then I just upped my game and went like did some stuff on the Coco Quantos, looped stuff, and went big and tried to like catch them. And that was like it was a good experience. And then to have someone like one guy working on bringing experimental music to a faraway town, it's amazing to me. And there's an attrition rate, I feel. Like if you organize these things, we talked about this in regards to the powwow, because there's a lot of time that you spend doing these, and the reward comes like after 2 years when it starts rolling. But after 1 year, you're feeling tired and burned out, and you need to keep going, because after the second year, when people realize, oh, this is a regular thing now, the press jumps on it, the people jump on it, it gets really more of a thing. And if you're in the third year, you're established in the town, so everybody's organizing shows out there in like remote places. Keep on, try to find ways for yourself to make it easy and get as much help as you can, and don't let yourself be tired out. And thank you, Stephen Gao.
I think asking people for help is the big thing. I mean, Modular Meets Leeds only happens because of help from friends. Matthew Shaw, Phil Hall, Jeff Robogust comes and runs a DIY workshop. I couldn't do it on my own. And after a couple of years of it growing, there's no way I could do it on my own.
Yeah.
And there are people that want these things to keep going. Of course, as you say, once you have a family, it's this balance of, well, if I'm not really getting anything from it, I could be with the children, which is of immense value, of course. But having other people not only spurs you on, but lightens the load. But I think it stops, not that more events is ever a bad thing, but it stops all these fragmented, separate events happening, because someone else is wanting to do something, they're hungry. And if you can bring them in and you can all work together for the greater good, okay, we still don't make anything from it monetary for anyone, but it is a far better thing with all of us involved.
Yeah. We've got Schmooster. I want to run something in Muswell Hill, London. Just need gear and help and people. Just if anyone is in there in the chat now, or even people watching this later, because I know many of you do. So Schmooster, if you drop like a contact somehow, I don't know how you can do that, like, so it's not like you're not going to get spammed, but find a way to drop a contact there, maybe like your Instagram or something, or your Twitter, or whatever means you have, and you are in the area, then maybe you'll get connected. Just what I'm saying.
Message me. I will send you a few people to talk to.
But even better.
But publicly, CV Freaks in London. Tom Whitwell's quite well connected to what's going on with those, and has been kind of pivotal in getting the talks and workshops going at some of those London events. But ping me a message somewhere, anywhere at DivKid, and I'll try and send you to the right place.
Awesome. If this happened, just something like this would happen from just us sitting down, drinking whiskey and talking, that would have made all this completely worth it. Except like the time that we're having a nice time, but those would give it more meaning. I tend to get dramatic, as you know. I go on. I tend to stand on pedestals and do stuff like that. Yeah, I'm just.
But it's nice. I mean, it's nice to get. If we all get connected through this whole thing, that would be great. It's super nice to know you have people around that care for the same things, and you can. Like, I'm always looking forward to having the 1 month meetup. It's like something I always look forward to every single month. Just going over the border and meeting those people in Copenhagen. It's important. It's good to know this is coming, and you know.
I think that's what we need more of around me, a more casual, less of an event, because we get manufacturers involved. There's a slight trade show style element, performances, just a hangout, a monthly hangout, and people could come. Nigel Mullaney has a lovely birthday walk. I see Dan Wildbeck of DPW is in the chat. Hello, Dan.
Dan.
And Anders is too. Anders, hi, Anders. He runs a community in Chile, and the power also there. So very nice guy. He's been a bunch of times in my studio, and really nice guy. So if you're in Chile and want to get connected to modular people, Anders, amazing.
He's the guy. Yeah, my friend Nigel Mulaney, composer, has an annual birthday walk that he's done for the last couple of years. Has a cabin that he goes and stays in and works out of sometimes, sets up a mini kind of synth composition studio. Not this January, but the previous one, Dan came out. Just go for a walk, a drink, grab a coffee somewhere, grab a beer, all hang out. It's not even a full day, but some people do stay over for a weekend. It's a really lovely thing. And I start to think maybe that's what we all just need to do for our birthdays. Everybody needs to kind of be willing to fly over for a birthday walk. It's a bit too much. They're a bit beyond a small community, but that's a really lovely thing too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I wanted to just briefly bring back around to something you said time back about the longer sets and the expectations of the audience.
Mm-hmm.
What you said was very much like the art of a really good DJ when you were saying that, not to kind of talk down to what's been done live as you're DJing, which I know a lot of people playing electronic music get, but the real skill in being a DJ is keeping an audience on a dance floor and not playing a song where they all go, I'll go to the bar now. And it's exactly the same skill set as what you said. I was talking to someone earlier, which is why it kind of light bulb went off again, that you realize, if I give them something more, they'll stay. And that was the Coco Quantus and the, as you said. That takes real skill and effort to get to that point of connection where you start to then control them. Because it's not just you performing your routine at that point. It's a comfort level and a being aware of your surroundings, which I know with Modular, I've kind of still find hard. I've not performed enough to be aware enough of the outer surroundings to really steer an improvised set or kind of purpose a planned set.
But isn't that even more difficult when you're not actually trying to get people to dance?
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, I mean, yeah. A DJ in a club has to keep a beat and a tempo, of course, but even within the constraints of that, there's songs that will make them go to the bar and ones that won't. But yeah, even harder when, the obvious thing would have been like, right, if I give them beats, that's going to really lift it. But to do that and still keep the stylistic thing right, that's hard.
Yeah. Alphaster, thank you very much. But I want to just say something about the beats, because I've been an ambient artist for a long time. And I've had like one of the typical things that happens like at ambient shows, like you're booked to play an ambient set for 2 hours or something. And then I was supposed to play with Dr. Walker, Air Liquide, and at Golden Poodle Club. And then he got like sick from malaria. And so he couldn't play. And then suddenly the promoter said, you have to do like a 4 to the floor set. I was like, why? I'm not the DJ. I can't suddenly do that. And that's Son of Dabia. Thank you, Booster. I can't just switch, and that happened a second time when I was playing in Leipzig, and then there were like 2 drone artists before me, and then the promoter said, "You have to play something different. This is not working. The people are leaving." But I don't have. Okay, so I had to like, and back at those days, I was usually like using like digital stuff. I was using Crusher X, Granular. I was using loops. I had like pre-constructed like tracks on the Ableton Live version 1 and stuff like that. So the amount of reaction I could do was actually very limited. But I realized that that's like my fault. I need to be able to play to any audience with the setup that I have. And I think I told this story a bunch of times, but that's the reason why I started a YouTube channel, because I just needed an audience to get good at performing and improvising. So I just put the camera up 30 minutes and performed, and then I would upload that thing to YouTube. That's the Weimar sessions. And that made me a better improviser and made me listen more and made me able to react more without like completely, like without betraying yourself. Because I also DJ'd a bunch of times. I DJ'd like the worst place to DJ is like the premiere party, like the party after like a theater play. And I DJ'd lots of those because after the premiere, I felt empty because like the big thing happened. Like you've played the show but somebody else played the show for you. Like the actors played the show. So you've got not that release coming off the stage. Ah, yeah, cool. So I had to find a different release. So I DJ'd there. And then I had to get all these people to dance like that are like ranging from they're ranging from like 15 to 80. As like a cool wedding where everybody's kind of cool. So you can get away with the strong stuff. So you need power music. And every time you played something like Queen, actors would respect that. They would respect that power in the music. Or you played something of a similar value. You could play like an old school crunchy classic. You could play something like from the 1950s if it just had that intensity. So I learned to DJ and work audiences through the theater crowd DJing. And that was such a gift for my improvisation, because I could use those like skills to read a room. And I'm just gonna have to do it. I forgot the knob. Dea Siculus, thank you very much. And Michael Manning too. And Martin Müller, thank you very much.
Yeah, but doesn't it's kind of crazy when he does the thing with the reverb, right?
I kind of have to.
Yeah, but it's super nice. I mean, I love it. My question would be, and it's open for both of you, like because it mostly comes on how I structure the playing live. Wouldn't like having a meta structure, like going in and saying like, yeah, okay, first part, second part, third part, try and make like a story out of what you were trying to do with the setup, especially if it's a modular system, right? I'm not saying it's easy to patch that, but having that thing in your head where like this is going to be A, this is going to be B, then I'm going to end up this, and have like a couple of. That's how I approach it. It's like having aces in your sleeve.
Yeah,
like this is the cool stuff that I have, and I can fool around, and then you can. The improvising part is just how long you're going to stay on each thing,
and where it takes you. I mean, like. With the Seat Lombard, there's nothing. It never sounds the same. Everything is always different, but you can always completely adjust to the room. And the first time I actually noticed that was when I played Super Booth for the first time, the first Super Booth, and I just had like suddenly an octave below the lowest octave that I would usually play in the Saal 2 back when it was at Funkhaus. And there I realized what opens up, and I realized I've got a very powerful set of instruments. But now my live shows, you know, these books. Like where you've got multiple choices where you want to go. So like a special name for those?
I'm sure there is. I remember the Lone Wolf.
Yeah, something like that.
Game books. They were game books.
Yes, game books. So I give myself like I know the time frame, and I give myself like a set of choices by the tape loops, for example, that I pick. Those are like little islands, storytelling islands, because I always try to tell an overarching story. And then I move from island to island, but I can always exchange where I want to go in regards to how the crowd is feeling.
I tried my best in the last performance, again, back in Seattle in September, October, to try and, get every point that I want to make with kind of ambient modular music out. And that meant having lots of smaller sub patches, effectively songs in a set. And it went out with 6, 7, 8 movements, which is a lot. I tend to feel like a lot of modular performances are a patch for maybe 30 minutes. They rinse it, repeat, bring the beats in and out, all those kind of things. And what I hoped would happen, it wasn't particularly planned that way. I wanted to express these ideas, and it was a great place to try it. But not give people time to get bored. I knew from having played a lot in the past on other instruments, there's not enough time for people to get bored of this. So I could indulge in quite basic sound and enjoy sound and immerse myself in it, and hopefully the audience enjoyed that as well. But nothing hung for that long. No, listening back, I don't think it is, and I hope no one else felt that way, that it felt too rushed either. Things were roughly kind of working with some transitions and some space in between, and I was trying to play each sub patch differently. So having points where you're physically involved or you take a step back. There was a moment where I did very little with a Morphogene and just let some prepared audio play. And I just changed the effects over the top, filtered things in and out, caught additional loops in the 4MS DLD, brought those in, led those out, sound on sound loop with the delay until it felt right to move on. And I could kind of wash that out into the next thing that I may actually physically play. And that's the best thing for me that any kind of modular performance has done. I tend to do yoga performances for some reason. I ended up being asked. Yeah, I ended up being asked at a really family-friendly festival called Deershed Festival here in Yorkshire, very close to where Milo Melodies lives, for the kind of modular fans out there. And just up in North Yorkshire, about an hour from me, and they have a yoga tent. And yoga sessions happen all day till around 7 p.m. And they said, will you play? And it's like, yeah, but it's not really going to suit like a normal festival with bands on and stuff. This is kind of strange. They said, will you play in the yoga tent? It's like, yeah, okay. I just said yes, didn't really think about it. And after a couple of years of doing that, I'm starting to get fairly comfortable performing alongside a yoga instructor. And that's been a real lesson in trying to actually connect with what's happening in a room, because they need far less than you think they do. They're not there to listen to the music for a start, which is almost nice that they're not there for me. And really, they're not there for that yoga session either, because there are known sessions that they run and the company that runs these that run all day, every day. And then there's a random Eurorack yoga on a Saturday at this festival. But people come, experience it. I managed to get people. I'm at the festival all weekend in a science tent, letting children play on this stuff. Again, with Milo Melodies, which is great. And then the set happens. And it allows me to listen back. Of course, I record it all. Not all of that's online, but to listen back and actually think and take a step back as to what works and what doesn't. And it definitely made the performance where it was about me playing music slow down a lot. It helped to kind of be, I was ignored until I did something wrong. You know, if I made a wrong move, they would know. Yeah, the tent would know. And reassuring looks of a yoga instructor in some pose somewhere, and she'd kind of look over like, yeah, keep this tone for a minute. Like, and it's a collaboration. It was a case of having to follow her instructions, judge her movement. There'd be a little bit of eye contact, but not too much for the setup that we had. So it's an interesting one. I definitely recommend anyone just saying yes to playing yoga sessions or something different, or DJing, like you said, not necessarily club DJing, just like a wedding. I mean, how do you keep people going on a dance floor? That's someone good will do it
without like completely selling yourself out.
Yeah,
it's like that's hardcore. And I've Googled the worst thing that I ever DJ'd was like the Google Berlin party. That was horrible. Yeah, it was. I've done like bad DJ jobs, but that was a bad job maybe from my side also. I'd expected something different, but yeah, I stopped DJing basically. But
Google made you stop DJing.
Yeah, like these kind of like corporate events. Corporate events is not like fun in any way.
Yes, that's good.
We'd always be told to play music as working in schools and college in the music department. We'd have students performing, we'd perform award ceremonies and things like that. And they realized they'd never booked a DJ, and they would just tell one of us. And of course, year on year, you know, this is coming. Someone put some music on, it can't be silent. And you're like, oh God, what do I play? And getting the tone right in all these different environments is really difficult. Especially in an awards ceremony where the in-between music and you're not trying to get people excited, but it doesn't want to be dull kind of elevator lift music. Yeah. Some people call it either. It's an interesting challenge. And that was one we really looked forward to. Me and the other musicians were like, right, who's going to do it this year? Like, who's going to finally get the tone of the room right? And none of us ever did. No one ever did. But it's good fun.
Yeah, it's good fun. I mean, like, it's an art in itself. And the one, I know, it's an art in itself to get people to dance. It's beautiful how you can like. Some people think it's easy. I mean, like, it's difficult. It's really difficult, and to keep them dancing, really, Yeah, but it's good. Like for me, like as an improviser of experimental abstract music, having like a solid background in DJing to a mainstream crowd is something that helps me, and that's something that I should suggest to anybody who improvises, to have like a background or realize why something like "we had the time, we had the power" really works and resonates with people. Why stuff like that really makes people like, okay, yes, I feel like I can stop hanging out at the bar and can just move now. And there's more to that than just like people remembering their childhood. There's some sort of intrinsic quality in the music, and you realize that it's so good when you play them tunes. Then you play like 2 tunes that they know, and then you play one that they didn't know, and suddenly they're like, okay, I'm ready for this now. You open
because
them
you've
up.
got the energy right.
Yeah, you got the energy right, and you open them up. Like, I mean, I think Bertolt Brecht, he said the audience likes to applaud their own memory, which is absolutely true. The audience likes to applaud their own memory. If there's something that that they remember, they're going to be, cool. I know that. This is good. I know. So if you know that and are not like, oh, I'm gonna be all new. Well, no, it has to be completely. Everything has to be new. You're just like, no. I take that. I take this thing that they know, and then I'm gonna like subvert it and create something else. It's basically like when you think about Nine Inch Nails, for example. You've got the most like you've got noise, you've got but then there's this piano that goes dun, 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 dun. And that's like this guiding light in the whole mess. So that I know piano, yes, I know a simple melody, and then they're ready to go further and further and follow that shining light through the noise terror that's happening around them.
I think it's fine. It's that emotional connection, isn't it? And I think for a lot of more abstract and experimental music, that connection may be film and picture, and evoking feelings that sound made them feel in a cinema, or it's got to evoke an experience still. And that's much harder with an instrument in front of you that sometimes for some audiences, they've never seen. They don't play that. It's like the yoga thing. I don't want to judge everybody that does yoga, but that tent certainly weren't aware of Modular. It was, what is this box of crazy stuff? And it was very melodic and soft. It wasn't harsh and abstract really in any way, but I had to find something, some form of like a piano melody or a sample of a piano, something that makes
to draw them in.
Yeah. And maybe lean on some cliches of yoga CDs, because someone's like, oh god, you're not doing those like cheesy yoga ambient, all that terrible royalty free music you can buy, and there's some cheese out there, like horrible spa kind of music. And I was like, well, I think I'm going to lean on it a little bit, but not recreate it. I'm certainly not sampling it, I'm not playing that stuff, but I'm going to try and get them in that mood, because I realized for a lot of people, and me and my partner have had a couple of spa breaks over the year, that's probably the only experience they've had outside of radio and commercial music. There's this, and then there's soft music to relax to, and they're probably unaware of everything else. And I think the year that I tried to lean on that a little bit more was way more successful, and then more enjoyable for me. It wasn't a case of, oh, I'm going to sell out and just do this because I know it will work.
Yeah, but it's something that you don't do that often. So I think it's super easy, to look at it and be like, I'll just give them what they actually want. It's perfectly fine. But I want to get back to what you were saying with the image kind of helps with more experimental things. The experience that I always look back to was we did a very nice theatrical piece that lasted 24 hours continuously. And I was doing that. Yeah. And I was doing the music with a modular system and like a couple of other stuff like two tenoriums and things like that. And it was live 24 hours. It was a big thing. And it was a Beckett play.
Which one? Do you remember?
It was Mercier and Camier. It's like one of his first books, and it's like a trip that these two hobos go. Well, they go out on a trip, and they experience like a bunch of things. And it was 24 hours, right? So people could come in the theater. It was a big production, come in and out. And the thing was, we were sitting high up, far from the stage, and the whole thing was semi-improvised because the director was there giving directions to the people that were playing and acting. But we had done like a ton of rehearsals for this, but the whole music was improvised, right? Mm-hmm. So then you had the director going like, no, I need a dark mood and I need this and that. And it was pretty brilliant, especially with the whole trip that's going in your head because you're playing 24 hours, right? Mm-hmm. You haven't slept, and at some point during one of the episodes in the whole thing, my brain kind of forgot that I was the guy playing. Right, there was a distance between me playing and what was happening on stage. And the beautiful thing was, because you had that hands-on control, it was amazing to actually have this power that, a major chord, now everything is happy and everything. And like you could see how the whole scene would change. Like someone comes in and then you have a dissonance, and all of a sudden the whole thing becomes creepy and like, who's that guy now? What's going to happen? And it's this amazing power, because usually you go and watch a movie, and if the score is good, you will remember some stuff, but it's not going to take you out of the film, right? It's going to work on the back of your head in a way. But actually being the person that does that make a huge difference for me. Like my brain ever since then has been thinking about sound in a completely different way.
You can color. Color.
Exactly.
I mean, like, when you think about like one of my favorite film composers is Bernard Herrmann, and how he and Hitchcock like misled the audience through sound. I forgot the name of the movie, but there's a scene where someone just gets handed a glass, and the music says, "This glass is dangerous. It's poison. It's poison. It's poison." Gets the glass. It's not poison. It's just a glass. It's just a glass of a drink. And nobody gets poisoned. But the music says, "This is poison." And so the audience is like, what? So you're engaging on a level with the people that is almost like you don't do that anymore in film scoring, because the score is like, it can do something different than what is told to achieve the overall goal. So we are still uniting the score with the picture, but we're not like in the dream logic that you've got in a lot of Hollywood movies, where everything has to be like, it's best if the music is not noticed, or if it's just like pumping up and where it has to be like 1 1 1 1 1, or like the contrast has to be like, really brutal scene, really soft piano and stuff like that. That's like the maximum of like experimental. But if you do integrate into the storytelling, and where you allow the music to tell lies, that's genius. And that's why I love the Herrmann and Hitchcock collaboration. And if those studios didn't have told him that, no, he's an older guy, you need to get more like sexier, newer music in there to make your movies attractive, if those producers had just shut up, that they could have made more beautiful movies together.
Yeah,
it's not to try and make it all about kind of DJing and dance music, but it's about the expectation as well. I remember the French electro group on Ed Banger, kind of home of early Daft Punk and things, Justice. And they were kind of saying, we're big, maximal, kind of modern electro house for a long time, and hated minimal, and kind of painted a media spin of themselves for hating kind of minimal dance music, typically minimal techno, until they went to the right club and experienced it. And then they just professed of how I didn't hear a hi-hat for 3 hours. And when I got the offbeat hi-hat, it was like the biggest, most elated kind of trance-like feeling. They spoke of it as if it was gospel, some huge religious experience when I was finally given this thing.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what minimal techno, I meant to, like, having been in Berlin like a bunch of times before I lived here, and in the height of like minimal techno, when that's just that hi-hat pattern suddenly shifts, and you've been like this, and you're like, what the? And your brain just explodes from the change. That's so amazing. But yeah. We might have a new guest coming in.
That would be nice.
Some of you might know him.
Where is it?
And now he's coming in.
Guy now.
Yeah.
Hello.
The magpie is in.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah.
Yes. Whoa.
No. Somebody said no. No.
Yes.
Oh, good.
You're
I don't
full
want
on.
to. You know.
You're looking
I
good,
got a
man.
mustache now.
Yeah.
Corona mustache.
Corona mustache.
That's the opposite. Everybody's shaving their heads. That I know. I keep seeing like I can't get my hair cut, so I'm just going to shave it. There we go.
Hey. Fuck yeah.
People are getting crazy and just cutting their own hair.
Awesome that you could join, man. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what
been
I said. Shout out Martin Möller. Just gonna say that he was in here in the chat before. Martin, big mustache inspiration. I got a really weak mustache. So, you know, I look at pictures of other people and just
his one is very sweet, one. He's got like proper Ned Flanders style of thick mustache.
It's a proper one.
Yeah.
That's why he always zooms close to the camera so people can check out his mustache.
Yeah.
That's why I stay over here. I talk a lot like this, you know. I don't know why I did it, but I did it. It's fun.
Yeah. Is that snuff stuff?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, good to see you in your studio, man. You haven't been like online a lot.
No. You know, things are happening like globally.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
But Sweden is pretty chill. I know you said you're in the south of Sweden.
Yeah, I am.
I don't know. Like, I'm still working. Everybody seems to kind of still be working. It's pretty.
That's gonna change. Gonna change. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. It's kind of crazy what they're doing here compared to the rest of Europe. It's like, you know. They have a word in Sweden which is called lagom. It's not easy to explain. Yeah, and it's like not too much, not too little, exactly right. But it's a very Swedish thing, and you know, not being from Sweden, for me, it's like it's always just a bit missing the mark.
You're criticizing lagom now.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I think they're going with this. It's like
just a little bit too little.
Yeah, like,
lagom is a little bit too little. Yes. Funny.
No.
Where were you before? I had to start the computer and everything. I feel like maybe I'm interrupting, but I'm not.
You're definitely not interrupting.
Good.
But I don't remember the last thread where we're at. Cheers. What are you drinking? That's a good question. Pardon me?
Koskenkorva. It's the Finnish vodka.
Finnish vodka. Okay. Yeah. So you're an outlier. But I remember you don't. I remember like you're not a whiskey guy, right?
No, I like bourbon.
Yeah.
I don't like the other kind. Because bourbon is so sugary sweet. But then I also like Lafroy and stuff, like really smoky shit.
Okay.
You know? But vodka is so much cheaper. Very good for my economy. So I can practice every day.
Yeah, I remember when you were over, like, you didn't like the whiskey so much, but...
No, but you had a lot of weird, fancy stuff.
Yeah.
He's a fancy guy.
Kind of collection about that. I'm still sad that we never like finished the shortest tape loop video.
Oh yeah,
that never happened.
Footage. Again, or we do a shorter one later. I don't know.
The shortest tape loop.
Yeah, I have all the footage. Yeah,
it will be like a trip down memory lane. Yeah, that would be lovely. Because one thing before, just to Simon visited me at some point because I was doing a live stream for Roland and I wanted there to be a moderator and I wanted it to be someone who is like absolutely non-corporate and someone with integrity. And so I asked Simon and Simon came by. We did the live stream and it's still like on my channel. And then we hung out for like 2-3 days or longer because you missed your plane.
I missed my plane, yes.
Yeah, and then we hung out and it was
Punisher on Netflix. You know?
And it was like is like his brain was constantly like thinking of new ideas for videos. He was just lying on the sofa and just thinking of, what if we do this? What if we do this? What if we do this? We filmed like, I don't know, we filmed like, what else we filmed? There was so much cool stuff. It was just like many thoughts.
Well, that was all I could do because you were walking around with fucking test equipment like a buff fucking bodybuilder, just flexing. Have you seen this? It's so heavy. So what am I supposed to do? I'm so fucking tiny in comparison. Couldn't help.
I'd say
it was really good, really fun times.
Now you're here, Simon, and I won't see each other at Synth Reactor because it's not happening at the moment. I've saved the file of you taking my camera at the Toman event. I've still not watched it. I was saving it to watch. It's in a folder, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to look. You made such a deal of like, have you seen what we did with your camera? I'm like, I'll wait.
It's so funny because it's me and fucking Mark Doty running around going, and people got so fucking mad at us for sneaking around, like other people that
it was the restaurant, the other people in the hotel. Yeah, I heard the tale.
We should have blamed you. No, it's that guy's camera. Yeah, you should just upload it. It's not even that funny, but it's funny for us.
It's so far gone now that I realize I'm going to be so disappointed when I actually hit play on that file.
Yeah.
If something happens, I'll bring it. We'll have a little hotel watch party and we'll all be disappointed together.
Yeah, we're all be. It's going to be amazing. Wow.
Yeah, Konstantine, you were the only one. You were not at the Synth Reactor thing, but there was actually like Toman did an event where they put together a bunch of people that are on YouTube and talk about synthesizers, and it was everybody had like huge reservations. We were like, oh, it's gonna be like too corporate. The things like I don't know. So what's gonna be? And then we were all there, and it was just like so much fun. It was really a ton of fun, and everybody was just enjoying themselves.
It
was
the one
really
where you
good.
did the synth clavier stuff, right?
Yeah. And then there were all these world records.
I was so apart, like all the rest couldn't care less. Having a real piano that has a MIDI input where you can actually control a real piano using like whatever you have. That was
you can't. You're on my channel. Damn it.
Hey, Magpie.
Yeah, no, but generally, and there was supposed to be another one this year, and that got canceled. And there would have been also, that could have been.
Dude, we had booked like Guinness and everything. We were gonna be in the book.
Yeah, because those people in America they stole your record.
Yeah, fucking Americans.
Yeah. Sweetwater stole your record.
An actual record or made it up. I'm not sure. We kind of we winged it.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. We winged it, and that's kind of like the thing that I personally love when many people with different talents get together and just say we're gonna wing this and just gonna do it. And
cool.
Yeah, when it's just like everybody plays off their strength. That's fun.
Must have been very creative, actually, right?
Yeah, I never would have thought that it would be like that. But
how many days? How many days was it?
3.
3.
3. Okay, cool.
Yeah, 3.
I think it's going to be 4.
4.
It needs to be.
Yeah, it needs to be.
30 days.
30 days.
The worst bit of that trip for me, everyone was pulling everyone else into each other's videos, which are great. An old kind of grandfather Toman's house stood there, and they were the video studios. Loads of dust in this old house being kicked up by the drilling in, rigging in. I was coughing like a lunatic, and I'd said to Nevs once upon a synth, hey, do you want to just come and play something while I play around with some FM synthesis? Yeah, cool. Like 15 minutes in Studio One kind of thing. Went in, and I'm coughing like a lunatic. I'll give it to you. There'll be a great video if you were to edit it, Simon. It'd be super lame if I did, but just me, like hurling and coughing so horribly. And Nev's, bless him, just keeps playing in almost like a complete disregard for me. I was just like, fuck this guy. Like, he's called me in here and this is what he's doing. But also in a kind of really total pro musician way of just, I'm going to hold this down. It'll be right in a minute. And I'm really like below the table, coughing like crazy. And everyone kept rolling for the best part of the hour. Just like, he'll stop coughing in a minute. We'll get it. We'll get this. And no.
It was
I was only like for one video on that thing, and I felt it creeping up. It wasn't very good. It was really like, it was hard.
For an hour. He was super pro. He was just vamping on this thing, waiting for a moment for me to come back in on like, yes, if we change the decay on the FM envelope. Like, he was waiting for the moment. He never came.
Yeah.
Luca Moreno wants to know what your microphone is, Simon. Is it a C414?
Yeah, it's my only mic. Basically,
It's a good mic.
When I wrote you like these are like you're gonna do mic videos, and oh cool, I have mics. These are my mics. So you're like, yeah, okay, you have a SM57. I guess that's okay. All the other ones, I don't know. Fuck those. I don't know. You never swear, but
I don't swear. No. I
only when he plays video games.
Yeah. That's gonna be. Yeah.
The fucking game that you were talking about before.
FTL?
Animal
Factory? No, Animal Crossing.
Animal Factory? Okay. Word?
Animal Crossing. Are you playing Animal Crossing?
No, fuck no.
Logan is here. Middle of Wisconsin.
Hey,
Logan.
Wisconsin Badgers. Woo.
Say a word for that. I don't know the Wisconsin Badgers.
I just had a T-shirt as a kid because I had an uncle from Wisconsin. So
I think
also Starling Modular is here, so that's where the things connect.
I think I saw Logan with a. Ooh, that was a good one.
That was a good. Can we hear that again, Konstantine? Silence.
Second time it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. What's that? So does it mean like it needs to take a little bit of like? Does it like does the cork like suck air so it creates like vacuum so you get more sound?
Prolapse.
Whisky Prolapse.
I saved the bottle before because I was recording it, but now it's always a mess. A really nice one. It was a rum though, QRM, I think. Very nice cork. If we're gonna start rating cork sounds.
Corks, I think we should. Like that's kind of like the point of this whole thing.
It's
like
pretty dope.
Cork.
It belongs to this cast.
Vodka shaker. Just saying. I don't know how it transcends over.
It's very good. But the thing is, we've got a 1 second delay. So any one of us tries to go rhythmical, it will be like.
Yeah. But I just wanted to show this is cat litter box sand for your cat in a tiny vodka bottle. Very nice sounding, very warm to be a shaker.
I gotta show you the school bell that we're using for homeschooling.
Ooh. Well, Heimbach gets that. And Logan's in the chat. I saw very nicely priced from Logan booklet easel clone kit or nearly built kit. I think it was earlier. Someone did ask me, funnily, on Facebook earlier, have I seen any around? And yes, if you're watching, excuse me, Logan had one.
I got that Arturia VST one.
How's that?
I don't know. I've used it. That's my review.
I've used that once. It's a thing.
Yeah,
you can actually it turns on.
I've used it.
It plays in tune. It maybe does chords.
I don't think so. But it does a lot of funky stuff. Those kind of sounds.
That's the one. 90% complete. If someone fancies DIY but only 10%, Logan is the man.
if just buy something broken.
Well, this
Oh, it's a pain.
Yeah.
That's not 10% though. Something broken.
No, I meant something not like electronically broken. When I said it, I realized it came across as way harder than I meant it to sound. Just something that is you need to tighten a screw, kind of broken.
Yeah, change a socket and it works. Yeah. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
The best DIY.
It's how you find those though. Because no one just says if you
did not tighten any screws before I put it on eBay. Fuck yeah. DIY.
I mean, there are things like you can, if it's somebody, for example, like old sound rumplers, if somebody's display scrambled or something like on the old Pro Toys, it just means you have to reinitialize to the factory settings. Then it works again. If you know that, you can get a Pro Toys broken cheap. So if you're in that, there's possibilities, but you have to be deep into that knowledge.
But now everybody knows, so we'll stop.
No more cheap Pro Toys.
Thank you.
So some of those old samplers and drum machines have the equivalent of a blue screen of death. Some of them, some of the Japanese. I was told the Alesis HR16 does. Basically a screen made to say, hey, I'm dead, you've got no chance. And then it switches off.
It's a good function, though. Otherwise, you don't know when to give up.
Yeah, it's when they... Hey, don't bother. You've no chance.
I love when they add messages to stuff. Like, so the Zoom R8 that I have here, whenever I close it, it says, like, goodbye. I love stuff like that. Like, hello again.
Hi, Zoom.
Forever.
Goodbye.
Where's the bell?
The bell is in the room, like now where my wife sleeps, because we've got guests over here. We got her sister over here, so I can't go in there. So the bell is not accessible.
Oh.
Can you do?
I have a thing. I have a thing I want to show, because last time I spoke with Ben, we were talking about format synthesis and stuff like that. Remember that, Ben?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I found a really cool app, although I don't usually use apps, but this is super fun.
No, the one. It's like the pink fleshy.
Yes. Have you ever checked that one out?
As soon as I have. Yeah, I know.
That's in the.
Yeah, it's super funny.
I'm gonna join in.
Hey, let's get the fuck out of here while we can.
I was looking for something equal in Sonic palette.
Miku, the Miku pedal.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. That was it, right? Yeah.
There's a few of those rubber chickens around that Stacy at Hex imported into.
Oh, I love those. I saw like someone did a video where all these chicken and like they had like 100 of those, and they just pressed and released all of them at the same time. It sounded terrible, like a nightmare thing.
Bringing back to earlier, that's what that Chilean death whistle sounds like. You dive in a whole case of those rubber chickens. One Chilean death whistle is like that whole sound.
Okay, good to know. And you gave that to your kids, Heinbach. Nice.
I didn't give. They take.
I think I honestly think that's why you went with the test equipment, so they can't carry that stuff around. That's it.
Yeah. But they love playing like the big wheels. They're like, that's perfect.
Lorna's favorite thing here is the larger switches and wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Anything like endless encoders as well. If she can just keep going, that's it. Morning gone.
That's like a fidget toy thingy, not a fidget spinner, but one of
fidget spinner or a fidget cube or something like that.
It's just a fidget.
Can you just turn down your microphone just a touch, because I think Simon's getting or Simon, can you turn yours up a bit?
Yeah, or just be super sexy.
Super sexy. Yeah.
Hello.
But I can turn it up. I'm moving around a lot. So.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad. I amped it, but didn't go further away. Is it super loud now?
If you go super loud now, yes. But if you're just talking normally, it isn't.
No, I was talking normal, but I can talk like this. I'm cool, man. I'm cool.
The Look Mum No Computer Fart Box has been mentioned by Luca in the chat. It's had its first public airing at Synth Reactor, if I remember right.
Yeah. No,
wait. A fart box had its first public airing. I love that. I love that you just did that.
You're the only one who has one.
No, they're more like out now, I think. They're like kids. So this is it. Wow. And it sounds really good. I mean, it sounds super raw. It does sound super raw.
It rips.
It really rips. So it's a really like the thing for me. Like I told Sam that this sounds more Moog like than a Moog. This sounds so pure. Yeah, it's really lovely heavy box. I don't have the power supply right now, unless I want to spend like 5 minutes crawling under my desk to find it because I didn't label it. But
should have a second camera angle.
yeah. Well, we've got 4 angles, 4 people here. It's all nice, very good. So no, but this is a really good instrument. I made some heavy techno with this. It's really
wet sound.
What sound?
It has a wet sound.
It has a wet sound. It has a Vindaloo sound. It has beans. It has a lot of varieties, and it's much more than it states. It's not just a fart box, but of course, I mean, I've got a video, the fine art of the synth fart, where we try to do that with native instruments and the fart box, and it's fun. But I mean,
Logan mentioned in the chat, if you want a fart box to get a Flight of Harmony sound of shadows, that's a PT delay, if I remember right. It's delay time. It's the chip falling over itself as delay time goes too long and starts to fart and gargle. The sound of shadows from Flight of Harmony.
I have a new non-linear circuits. What was the name of it? I think I have it right here. Delano, absolutely beautiful. Mark.
Me and you live on modular grid, man. We've got this.
Yeah, it's like a triple thing, triple PT, I think.
3 of those.
Yeah, it's 3 of those in a feedback, or is it 2? I don't remember. I think it's 2.
No, PT2399 is a chip that was used in karaoke machines, and it's just a delay chip. It does echo, and for example, if you've been like anywhere, like in Greece, for example, when the vendors come past, they have this on their microphones, like in the rural parts. They're like, oh, I got the echoes all the time, and it's all like you have it in karaoke machines, and you have it also like in rides. So it's a thing like it. Fairground rides with the typical announcer echo.
Guitar pedals as well.
Yeah, and it's many guitar pedals. It's very popular. And for example, like the digital spring reverb bricks, those are just like 2 or 3 PT of those.
Yeah, those Belton Accutronics digital bricks. Yeah,
exactly. Though just a bunch of those together.
And they sound way more roomy though. Like in the music thing, Spring Reverb, use the digital brick. It's more like a reflective hall room, like brick room kind of sounds great.
But this thing also goes a bit reverby. The question is, like, is it limited? Because what I think that on the non-linear circuits thing is he just left it open. It goes like from making absolutely no sound to just breaking everything apart. Whereas in most of the times they kind of limit.
Yeah, they let you get a little bit noisy, but not properly. The chip really like coughs and spits and dies for a moment. It's great, and you can pull it back out of that. Really
I had the Coma Field Kit effects like prototype, and the range on the first prototype was like insane. So you could do like the little tiny clock noises, and they made it more useful because you have to like, if you only got like one small knob, you need to keep the range that it's useful for many people.
Yeah.
And I'm not many people, so I like more like the extreme parts, but it makes sense to limit it in some way. And then you can open it up again, of course, via CV easily. You can just add CV, offset, and then you're into the dark regions of the chip.
The Boat brand is amazing. That's such an amazing sounding box. Tom Bug's Magic Fingers on
the Bug brand.
Bugs.
I've been considering that for a long time because I have his PQs. Oh, those are absolutely lovely. Heimbach got me into the Bug stuff. Oh, with his just, and even the simple thing like the way the box looks and how these huge knobs feel, how to just fine tune your sound. It's absolutely fantastic. Tom makes super lovely stuff.
And I love made for performance. Made for performance.
Absolutely. Well, a performer himself as well.
Yeah.
His patches, early days like 480p YouTube days, Tom's own Bug brand patches are amazing.
I love that they look out.
I'll dig some out. I'll send some links. But I love that they look. We'd say Fisher Price was a big kind of kids toy brand. They look super Fisher Price, like toys for toddlers, bright colors, big knobs.
Yeah,
and they're so great.
I love that very much. Huge
fan. What are you searching for, Konstantine?
I'm searching for because I have a weird one of the cases. All right, I have one very weird case. I don't know if I can show this. It's going to be a bit tough, but I'm going to try. Where I have the PQs. Maybe I can just move it here and bring the camera.
Let's show stuff. I also want to show stuff now.
Yeah, come on. It's got to be nice so that people can see the knobs at least. These are the types of knobs.
Ridiculous.
Fuck yeah.
Those are good knobs.
Yeah.
Dude.
I mean, these are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel like butter. These are super nice. And this is just like a mono EQ, and you just have two of those.
Fuck yeah.
Super great.
Not very space efficient.
What you mean the boxes?
It's the knobs.
Yeah, not necessarily, but yeah, like if you want to do the low cut and stuff like that, they kind of feel great. So I think it's warranted, and these are just very small boxes, so totally worth it.
Sorry, go on.
Just Tom Whitwell, didn't he just introduce a module about the club of the very big knobs?
Yeah.
It's just 4 offset voltages. Great. Perfect.
Yeah. I would truly believe that having a big knob for control after playing with the test equipment makes you make better music because you're just able to like do less.
Well, it's accuracy, isn't it? It's a more refined. It's easier to grab a big sweep over a wide range. But it's
Where's the huge MIDI knob? There's like MIDI out, just one big knob. Control whatever.
Controls everything at the same time.
You gotta hug it.
I would still be stepped, right?
No, not. Okay, so let's
put it to
get to the next step.
I angered Konstantine.
Yeah, shall we put that myth to sleep forever? MIDI is not. It's not 127 steps. CC messages don't necessarily need to be 127, right? Because they can be 127 multiplied by 127. Because you can have like a mass, like a what's the term? I've had too much whiskey to remember the terms now. But it was most significant and less significant thing, right? So you can have two stuff assigned to the same thing, and you can have a huge range. It doesn't need to be stepped.
You mean you take one knob, but you take two channels?
Yeah, you can assign the same thing. Where is it?
And you interpolate those.
No, you don't have to interpolate. Like these can be. You can have two things. Like two. I don't know if you can assign the same knob to have a bigger range, but you can have like two knobs assigned to the same parameter, so you don't have to be stepped all the time. You can be more fine-tuned. That's why you need to read a bit about MIDI. It's good.
MIDI book.
Is the book called MIDI Power?
Yeah, it is. There's a whole range of these.
That's
types
awesome.
of things. Yeah,
MIDI
but it's
Power.
Good. Yeah, because come on, like if you're using the damn thing, might as well find some details about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And where's Simon off to?
I'm here.
He's gonna bring some books. Whiskey and books.
Reading is for losers. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually in a book.
Which one?
That pedal book.
Okay, Pedal Crush, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was able to get into that book that you should not read a book or something like. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Hey. Cheers.
All right, everybody. Yeah. So, I think it's last orders now. Last orders. So,
damn.
Yeah, last orders. We are on the last drink for tonight, so everybody refill who wants to refill.
Doctor's orders.
Yeah. It's getting on midnight.
We're close. It's getting close.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
So now I think we should open up, like, is there any suggestion of what we should talk about from the chat? You've got 1 minute, and then we all vote what you want to talk about.
What? We vote? Or
we vote,
chat
yeah.
vote? We vote.
We vote.
Uh-huh.
Chat makes suggestions, and then we vote.
Brexit.
It's too real, man. It's too soon.
Too soon. Yeah.
It's never happened yet.
We're gonna write things and then we just exit. Chat exit. Check. Oh shit. Should we read chat?
Yeah, please, someone do. I'm busy trying to play the synthesizer that is blocked by my microphone stand, so I can't pull it out. So,
what kill you in time back?
Logan says we should take our clothes off.
We've also been asked to collaborate over the stream. What key are you in time back?
All white keys.
I can go with the DD10.
I can do the vocals with that app if you want.
I'll add a shit beat. Okay, that's a really shitty beat.
Yeah, shitty beat is good.
Sorry. Shuffle. I can also do fills. Oh, and he breaks it up. Oh, he goes 69. He doesn't even know what it is. Pretty sexy. I didn't even touch it. Stop.
That was very good, very good. I think we should all like.
You can also hold the roll button and press. This is a roll. I know Ben is a drummer. Do you have a drum roll like this?
In the kind of metal days of teen years, yeah, that I've been known to around the drum kit a few times.
We're gonna put that in a slow song.
And now you have to record that, put that through tape, and
Half-speeded. Yeah. Best-speeded. Oh, yeah.
Sample pack right there.
Yeah.
Oh, is that this one? Right?
So, do we have anything we want to talk about that we feel like coming up? I think everybody's on the same level as we're right now.
More chaos.
More chaos. You should drink more chaos, please. Now we on love.
Favorite white noise source. Most aggravating piece of gear. Vermona 14. There's a bunch of good suggestions. Least favorite synth.
I know that one. Roland MC303.
Pinky kind of.
Ooh, tough.
After one at the moment, I saw.
What was the question?
Least favorite synthesizer.
Least favorite.
No. I go with Roland MC303.
Just all synths suck. Only like acoustic instruments.
I don't know. I don't actually know which synth I actively dislike. Maybe I've just been fortunate in what I've managed to try and play.
This one is really shitty.
Simon, I've got this.
What's that?
It's so pretty, but it sounds
really beautiful.
Disgusting. Yeah, it sounds really awful. I don't see. Maybe
it's one of those divide down organs.
It's close to the Piff thing, you know.
Oh, I hate the Piff. It looks so good, and I hate that thing.
Hey,
I watched your video. And was like, he's gonna take that shitty thing out.
It's also got this really shallow, like
it doesn't no like depth to the keys.
It's just nothing. So that one sucks. I got more. If we're gonna like
shitty synthesizers, please bring. Yeah.
This one is amazingly bad. Superior organ.
Never heard that. Where did you get that?
I don't know.
Nice. I like that. I like that tone. That's good.
It's pretty cool, right?
That's really good. That's actually good. You shouldn't like
kind of good.
Yeah, really, but interesting. It like just spring reverb, perfect.
Yeah, any kind of reverb.
This is the problem. We're all too used to sprinkling glitter on these things and making unique and original, nice things from them, or appropriately disgusting things from them.
Yeah.
It's like is that the Waldorf?
Music doesn't say. Doesn't say much of anything. It's made in Hong Kong.
Okay, not a Waldorf then.
Very democratic, but it's got like. And the countdown.
Please do the do sound again.
The do.
That was fantastic.
That's not bad.
No,
I agree with Logan.
It's got a really bad touchy-feely thingy, like one of those. It's like a Uno thing, but really bad, like a massage chair kind of thing.
Yeah, but once again, there's something about these things like that. I don't think there's a bad sound, personally. I don't think there's a bad sound.
They're all just Robert Henke's granulator away from being amazing.
Exactly. And it's just about context. When you provide something like this, like a big, like a nice context, it will sound great. Okay, this will be challenging.
I don't think it's got a speaker anymore. But it's a Disney princess keyboard.
Oh. Did you have that far piano too from Mickey Mouse?
No.
But I have that somewhere. But it's probably like my kids. My kids took that because that's too funny.
They stole it from you.
Yeah. All the stuff is ending up stolen.
This one is really cool though, but this is like a proper toy. But this is dope.
Ooh.
What's that?
Ooh, nice.
Black
So you
keys.
can go keys or xylophone. Ooh, mechanical.
That's really good.
And it
That's
switches
super
the
clever.
sound as well. So
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I mean, if you made like a sample pack of all your toys, you could make some good money of that.
Who cares? I make good music.
The crab walk. Yeah.
But I mean, did you have one of these?
What one is that? No, I don't. It's a Casutone.
No, it's a Bontempi. It's like a fan organ.
I know,
But
I've got
But I've never seen
got a
such a
lovely
small
one.
one before.
yeah,
It's super
the cool
small.
thing with this one
Small.
is that it's on batteries.
Wow.
It's like a melodica, but with
Yeah,
a
yeah.
fan.
I have like 2 of those, but they're far bigger. They sound
Yeah, I also got
super
some
nice.
big ones.
Yeah.
Over, you can see
What?
them in the corner. Over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those.
Those sound fantastic, especially if you're gonna play like they have these beating tones going on. They sound super nice. Who has like
This one is fun because it's really out of tune. This is a C. Okay, it lost the
What's
batteries.
all the batteries are on the floor now.
That happened to me during my last live concert. It happens.
Make a
But
show out of it.
Oh, yeah.
You
I'm
need
fixing
contact
that.
mics on the floor for all the synths that are being thrown around.
Yeah. They're pretty dope, actually. Like a rock star.
Some of the best. We went into one of the schools I worked in and sampled all the percussion, tons of percussion for different ensembles. But the best sounds were just dropping the trays of stuff just from a height, letting go. They're amazing for those huge, like ridiculous Bohemian Rhapsody type claps and snares. Like, they're great, perfect.
Gonna remember
just-
that. That's very
I just
smart.
read Gerald's comment. That's a really good bad joke, Gerald. 4 double A's on the floor.
No, this is the batteries, I think.
Yeah, still good one. I appreciate bad humor when I see it. So
I don't get that one.
Me neither.
come on, 4 on the floor, but it's 4
Or
double A's on the floor because you
Ah.
dropped the double A's.
Ah.
Sorry, I'm that kind of guy. I appreciate that kind of humor.
Too
I'm like,
bad.
oh, good one.
But now it's
Too
4 double
bad.
T's on the floor.
Dad jokes, yes, exactly. Thank you, Gerald.
Hi,
That
back. Maybe you have been hitting the bottle a little bit too much.
Yeah.
No, he's good.
Ah.
Gerald did make a good point. Favorite modules or techniques for short percussive clicks?
That's easy.
Have
It's
you-
a portal.
Yeah, a good Balmore.
Portal
Bottle.
by Mystic
Bottle.
Circuits. That's just amazing. That's the thing.
The butthole.
Wait, but is it like general techniques or dedicated modules for this stuff?
Either, I think.
I really like the new. There's a line from ADAC that has
The
like
T
all these.
networks and the T
Yeah,
note.
yeah. I have the T network, but I've seen like the rest of the line, and I just want all of them. They look so simple and inviting in what they can do. I really like that one.
I used to like running full tracks. Weirdly used to take Della Soul tracks a lot of the time. Full tracks in a DAW and then noise gating them really shortly. So you're just talking like all these clicks and pops. And because we weren't making music in time, you may hit a beat and there's nothing there. It's the air between the beat or the moment between the words. But they're too short to define pitch. That was always fun. It's like just running Foley or just letting something go. Throwing a mic out of the window. It's quite a fun one for that.
Ah.
58 literally out of the back window.
It's not even plugged in. You're just.
And then, super tight VCAs, envelopes. It's just air. There's just air, wind, noise.
It's nice with. I've been recording a lot of like ASMR videos straight from my phone, and I
really have?
Yeah, and I go, you fast forward like 15 seconds by tapping, because it's a YouTube video, so it goes like, and it's always like super stereo because ASMR videos are very stereo. So it's like, and since you can basically play it like an instrument, like a percussion instrument, because you play it in whatever BPM the song is, if you want.
And Ableton and Logic will all do transient detection, so it's really easy to do big bulks of that, and then sort of slice by transient or slice to MIDI track. Or
well, some of us use Cubase. We don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Do it. That's what I did with all your isolation loops back this past couple of weeks. Just took all the bits that I wanted to use and just sliced a new MIDI track and then replayed. I'm
looking forward to hearing your track with that.
I had to. The problem is, and it's a lovely problem, Jamie Liddell made such a good follow-up pack that I was like, oh man, I've got to do a B-side now. Yeah. So I doubled my workload because there's videos and things I want to do around the tracks as well. But yeah, I wasn't going to sit and edit audio and be like, oh, cool, that little boop from the test equipment's great. It's like, just
really like that.
Let the computer do the work rather than me chop every little segment.
Of course. I was so happy when Jamie did that because I love his music since ages. And then when he did it, was like such a huge compliment.
It's such a huge compliment.
It was like when he basically and he even did this similar cover. And I was like, awesome. It felt really good for me. Really good.
And I do construction loops.
Yeah. Okay, because another thing, because many people might not know this, I made a sound pack called Isolation Loops for everybody to use freely in your music as you like. You don't have to pay anything. If you can, it's fine. It's appreciated, but just use it in your music and post about that. And Jamie Liddell made basically like a follow-up to that, exploring his techniques. You can hear his voice, use it in your music as you like. And that's just like, it's a bit like silent post. Do you have these things where you just like whisper a word to someone and then it goes on and on and on? And that's really amazing. I mean, Simon, you know a bit about community running in this whole world. You've been running like the Magpie Pirates, or the Magpie Pirates. No, they run themselves now, right?
Yeah.
I love that they isolation fest and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, very good people. Applaud them. You can pay me for how cool they are if you want to.
No, but the whole thing, like, I don't know how many of you guys know that, but Simon has got this community called the Magpie Pirates. And
is it Discord? Join the Discord.
Exactly. And they putting up fests and they're putting up like online streaming stuff. And it's really, it's amazing to see communities get together in that part.
Yeah, it's very cool. They did it now with the Corona thing as well, which was really nice. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, and I saw Apu there, which is always
Jamie makes a mean bass as well, like pitching his voice down, wave folding it. The problem with Jamie is, I think I tweeted this at him, he will have already done it. I made a post about repitching his samples and wave folding his voice, but it feeling like somewhat of a unique thing. But you know, Jamie's been doing that for years.
Yeah.
He's a man of many techniques. He's got this down.
Yeah, he was like, he was in the trenches while we were.
He was Mr. Looper before all the loopers came out. He was there.
That's true.
No.
Yeah. I remember going to I've caught his show 3 times or something like that. So it was around the time that he made, what was that? I forget the name of the album where it's like super funky.
Multiply,
right? But I hadn't. Yeah, that was
top record. Everybody check out Multiply. Yeah. Buy it wherever or just stream it on Spotify. It's good.
Yeah, but I was imagining, like, because I saw him the first time he came over to Greece. It was a very fun show. It was like just three people. It was very small venue, and in my head he was more of like an IDM kind of artist. And then he came over. I hadn't heard Multiply, and then he came over again second time that I caught his show in Greece. And he actually remembered me from the first show because it was just three of us in a show. But nobody else.
You and his parents.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think they traveled over. It was like the bartender, myself, and a friend, something like that. Because it was pouring rain anyway. Long story short.
But this is your I saw Nirvana before they're cool story.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. But he was famous in Greece, but not in Greece, right? Like, for obvious reasons. And then he came over a second time. Obviously, it was packed and stuff like that. But I hadn't heard Multiply. It was just about the time that record came out. So I went to his show, assuming he would play like break beats and stuff like that and crushing stuff. And he starts singing and playing funky stuff. And I'm like, wow, what's going on? And he looped his voice and did all kinds of crazy stuff. Like the guy is an amazing performer. Amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
We had him on, as we did you, Heimbach, Esoteric Modulation, a few episodes back. Jamie was great on that. Lots of stories and ideas along the way and things. He's great.
Esoteric Modulations is Ben's podcast, and you should check it out if you haven't already. Oh. Everybody, I think it's kind of time we close this bar down.
Yep.
Yeah, it's past midnight.
We're dying for that school bell. The one thing I'm left with now is I need to ring the bell to clear the bar.
It's going to happen another thing. Because the fun thing is, it's in like one of those, like, it's a Dose. What's the English word for Dose? Can someone should help me? Dose translate to English. Can.
Okay.
Whisky's come in a can. Right? Whisky's come in these cans. And then they put a little, like, I have to check what they put in there. But when you shake it, it goes gong, 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 gong. And it really helps with the whole ritual of now is school. It helps so much. If I just say, okay, now it's time for maths, it's going to be like, I don't care. But if I do this ring, 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 time for maths, she comes down and we do maths. It's establishing these little rituals that helps us go through these crises.
Pavlos
response. It's not like Pavlov's dog. We're not at that point. It's just like a ritual. It's the same thing why you've got the 21st Century Fox fanfare in front of every movie that they do, because it puts you in said you're going to experience an awesome movie, and just this little ring.
You're going to experience awesome math.
Yeah. No, that's another. We have to build our own rituals, and that's just
yeah.
So,
Right.
Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for being on here. This has been amazing. You guys just stay for a few more moments because we're just gonna have a beer or something or whiskey after that. But thank you everybody. Yeah, you four. You're invited for the special like. We're just gonna okay, but everybody else, thank you. It's been awesome, and see you in 2 weeks. We're gonna do this next Friday again. Yeah. 2 weeks, Friday in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Friday.
Bye bye. And I'm gonna click end broadcast now.
Fuck all of you.